did that whole thing and I was muted. Oh my God, you got to be kidding me. All right, let's do this. Let's do this all over again. I've got a full Bloody Mary video, about a 5-minute Bloody Mary video that I did, but the Bloody Mary is absolutely outstanding. I got to be honest, man. I might have overdid myself. I might have outdid myself. In fact, because I was muted. Hold on a second. My God, did I really mute myself to start the tailgate show? Holy love of God. Let me do this real quick. Let me just do this again because I love this music. And I know you probably heard the music, but just didn't hear me. But who cares? All right, here's the deal. Right there, as always. John Lund Unleashed, JohnLundUnleashed.com for the tailgate party. Thank you. Please subscribe. Have your alerts on. We got the podcast as well, Apple, Spotify. We're going to get your favorite podcast. Here's the deal, as you can see to my right. Super Bowl Tailgate Show. The intro is what we're doing right now. Last year in Las Vegas, where I was sitting a year ago in Las Vegas for this very pregame show and all this kind of stuff. I've been on the air for hours, so we'll do that. Review the week, including Joe Montana on Brock Purdy, Fred Warner on possibly getting Myles Garrett, George Kittle. Where's my new contract? Prop bets. I got a prop bet guy coming on. I've got to double check with him. I haven't heard back. I can do the prop bets without him, but it would be nice. He's in Vegas and everything, so that'd be cool. Who are you rooting against? What are you eating? Kendrick Lamar's a halftime show, and who wins and why? Krueger is going to join us, Larry Krueger, at about 12:30, so he's about 20 minutes away. So I got to tell you, man, I need to play that stuff over and over and over again. It's just jacking me up. I'm getting ready for it. How do you feel? Subscribed again. John Lund Unleashed on YouTube. Please become a member. We're on X this morning as well, or this afternoon, depending on, well, it's not morning anymore. It's 12:10. So where you are on X at John Lund Radio, and X also Instagram. Let me check in with the Instagram people and make sure that everybody is hanging from Instagram. You know what? I didn't hit go live on Instagram. I'm really having a rough day today. But everything is great. Let me make sure everything is rolling on X so that when I say, hey, you're on X, and people are like, no, I'm not on X. Okay, there we go. We're rolling on X as well. So we are good to go, even though I had a bit of a rough start, was muted. Didn't even know I was muted. So thank you very much for people telling me that I was muted. So that's what's going on. Let's see here. 3:10 Eastern time. Good to see you, Dennis. Nice to see you. Nice to see you on the East Coast. That's not a bad drink to start the day with. That is not a bad day. Although, like I said, after we'll have Krug on. After Krug, we'll go right into the Bloody Mary. I did it straight from my kitchen. My wife did the video straight from my kitchen. In fact, you know what I'll do? I'm going to give you a little teaser of it because it's solid. We did a solid job.
The tailgate party. It's John Lund Unleashed tailgate party. So rather than making
look at that.
And the Bloody Mary Martini where you can't even see.
See, there you go, man. We're going to do that. We're going to do that when after Krug comes on. I did an entire thing, and I got to tell you, it turned out outstanding. I can't tell you. It turned out outstanding. I got to be honest with you. It was very, very good. All right, let's get to everybody. How is everybody today on this Super Bowl Sunday? I really appreciate you hanging out. Joe Schmo already says, let's go Philly. We already got our first let's go Philly because you are, of course, not that you're a Philly fan, I'm sure, but because you don't want the Chiefs to win this whole thing. Self-inflicted does not matter, my good friend Frisco Native 415. You got to keep going. It is Super Bowl Sunday. That's what Bloody Marys are for. That's why they were invented. Like I said, in fact, let me just take another plug off this thing. It's a good one. I'm telling you, that'll chase your blues away if you're up until 4:15. I've already got my first. Yes, I'll do a longer one a little bit later. I got the horseradish in my throat there, but I am good to go. That's why last night I was doing the Warriors post-game show, the Jimmy Butler, who scored 25 last night. And if you're a Warriors fan, you got to be encouraged, but we're not going to do that on tailgate day. I'm just saying that Jimmy was great in the fourth. Jimmy's in Mr. Inside and Steph is Mr. Outside. Butler went 13 free throws last night, so very, very good. But I'm just saying, last night people got on me because I was drinking LaCroix, sparkling water, and they're like, what's wrong with you? What are you doing? It's Saturday night. And so then I had to leave the show and I had to walk to my my garage fridge, which garage fridges are so great. And I totally forgot because I was just grabbing a beer. And I totally forgot that I had Jack Daniel's Fire in there because somebody was talking about Fireball, which is basically a hangover in a cinnamon cup. And I thought, you know what? I just want to present this to the people. And maybe you're not a Jack Daniel's person, but it's really tasty. It's in my freezer. And hell, I might have another one of those today because it was so good. So anyway, very, very cool. What's this about? I'm going to need it for me. I got roped into a Zoom work meeting. What? No way. I've never heard of that on Super Bowl Sunday. I mean, not only that, because when they get this thing to 18 games, and this is why 18 games is important to you, and I hell with everybody else, and the players bitching and moaning, I can't play 18 games. Well, unless you give me a bunch of extra money, but I can't play 18 unless you give me a really lot of money. But I can't play 18. Yes, you can, because you know what 18 games means for us, the fan? It means that goes into President's Weekend, and that becomes Monday off, which we've all been talking about forever. So get to 18 games so we can get it an extra week. So then an extra week and we get the Monday off and then we can do whatever we want. But you cannot have a meeting. How did you get roped? I need to know more details on that. You can't get roped into a meeting on Super Bowl. The whole reason I'm doing a pregame and not a postgame is I'm going to party like you for the Super Bowl. And then tomorrow, I got to wear it if I'm not going to feel good, but I'm not doing a postgame. I can't do a postgame. Oh, that is brutal. 2-drink maximum for the Super Bowl? How did that happen? I need to know about it. We need some more details, man. These are my guys, East Coast Red and Gold podcast. I'm going to be on their show next Wednesday, and I missed I feel so horrible. I missed their show. They promoted me and everything, and 2 weeks, like the previous Wednesday. So make sure that you guys go, and they're great guys. East Coast Red and Gold podcast. Make sure that you guys are subscribing to them on YouTube, and I'm going to be on their show next Wednesday, and they're great guys, and we've been interacting back and forth, and I haven't been able to get on their show, and it's 100% my fault. And you know what's funny is I was working up until about 10:45 to 5, and I knew I had to go on their show, and I went in and I talked to my wife, and we started talking about something, and all of a sudden I went, oh my God, they're going to kill me, and I just, it makes my skin crawl. I hate being, you got to be reliable, man. So make sure that you subscribe to those guys, and I will be on their show next Wednesday. I'm stoked about that. So East Gold, Red and Gold podcast right now. Go subscribe to those guys and then come back to the Tailgate show. But you absolutely positively have to do that, and then I'll be on with them next Wednesday. So great stuff. The East Coast Red and Gold podcast, Niners guys. Make sure that you follow those guys. Let's see. John Holmes is here today. Good morning. What are the odds the lights go out in the Superdome again if the Chiefs get behind? That was the craziest thing. So I'm there for that game. And first of all, when Jacoby Jones, I don't mean to bring this up again in Super Bowl 47, but when Jacoby Jones brought back that kickoff for a touchdown, I looked, and Krueger was sitting next to me, actually. We'll talk about this. Krueger was sitting next to me, and we're as high as you could get in the Superdome. And I just looked at him and I went, I cannot believe this. Like, I thought they were going to smoke the Ravens. I really did. And they got behind like that. And just from a talent standpoint, like today, Philly actually, this reminds me a lot, and we'll get into it. This reminds me a lot of the Super Bowl last year. The Niners had a better team. The Chiefs had Patrick Mahomes, and it's the same thing. The Chiefs have the Philadelphia Eagles have a better team, but the Chiefs have Patrick Mahomes, and that's just how I see it. And in that Super Bowl 47, I'm like, the Niners have the better defense. They have the better players. Ray Lewis was on his last legs. Joe Flacco is elite. Joe Flacco and Bolden had a great game, and then he went to the Niners after that. But Moss, a ball right behind him, she probably should have had it. Like, I look at all those Super Bowls, and I don't know which one is more painful. I'm not here to talk about painful Super Bowls for the 49ers, but I got to tell you, man, they should have had that Super Bowl just from a standpoint of they were just better. And that whole week was I was so burned out in Super Bowl 47 going out every single night that the Saturday night before the Super Bowl, as crazy as this sounds, we were burned out, and Pop and I meet up And he's not the voice of the Niners at that point. But so we meet up to go out on Saturday night. And we did an early dinner, and we looked at each other and went, I'm done, man. I'm just so burned out because it was all Ravens fans. Dun, 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 dun. And it was just, they were chanting that all up and down Bourbon Street. I did like one loop around Bourbon Street that night on Saturday night before the Super Bowl. And I went, nah, not going to do it. Like, we had been there every night partying and getting up early, and we were both doing TV and radio. And it was just like, I can't do it. I cannot do it the night before the Super Bowl. And so I stayed in. We had a great pregame. It was really cool. But my God, man, just crazy, man. Hi, friendliest catch. Good to see you, my friend. Very nice to see you. Yeah, sorry about being muted before, man. This is like brutal. But I'm good now, right? Yeah. Is this thing on? Let's see. Yak. You're muted, rookie. Yeah, I can't believe we started the show like that. Anybody reading lips? There you go, John Holmes. See, I got to pop up. Yeah, sorry about that. It took me about, what did it take me? 5 minutes? No, Sione, I was not drunk. It's just, I've got one bloody. That's it. That's all I've done. I did not do 5 bloodies before the show. I just did the one. And actually, I was doing taste testing. I got to be honest, I did 2 because I did a Bloody Mary Martini and the regular Bloody Mary. So yeah, that's what I did. No, my eyes just hurt. I'm not high today. I didn't smoke. Let's see. David Lombardi said Debo's owed $13 million, so I got to do it before. Yeah, I'm sorry that I've been telling you this for a very, very long time, that he wasn't going to be here, and everybody's like, no, he's going to be here. He's going to be here. And I'm like, no, he's not. He's not going to be here, but okay. That's a great question, John Holmes, who wants the Debo contract. You know what? He showed at the end of the year that he's got talent. Teams are always desperate. He's an interesting chess piece. I know he's been beat up. I don't know how injured he was this year, but I just got to say that, did he request a trade? Is that what the thing is this morning? Debo was requesting a trade. Hasn't he done that before? It's, what's so funny about Debo requesting a trade is that it's one of those things, like I say all the time. No, you're fired. No, he's just getting ahead of it. And I'll give Debo a ton of credit because Debo was a real professional this year, and he knew. But again, I've told you this a million times. This is not new news. If you listen to the show, watch the show on a regular basis, we're ahead of it all. We're always ahead of it. Debo's going to get cut. Debo's going to get cut. Been saying it forever. Pearsall in the slot. Ayuk's coming back. Juwan Jennings got paid. There's nowhere for Debo to go. He was an overpaid kick returner at the end of the year. He wasn't ever going to be here this next year. And everybody that came on my show, respect them all, love them, who covered the Niners, but no, he's going to be here. Well, because John Lynch at the end of the year said he's going to be here. They didn't say it emphatically like they said that Brock Purdy was going to be here. I don't know if Dre Greenlaw is going to be here, but what's funny is Debo's asking for a trade. Debo already asked for a trade, but the Niners were going to release him anyway. He was never going to be here. It's just, so if Debo's asking for a trade, I think it's one of the most hilarious things I've ever seen because he's not going to be here next year. He's a $23 million kick returner is what he is, and they don't have the money for that. So look, they rolled over $50 million. Not that we're doing the Tailgate show on the Niners, but they rolled over $50 million. Parag Marathe is brilliant in the front office, and they're going to be able to sign Brock for a reasonable for a really big contract. But at the beginning, it's going to be reasonable as far as quarterbacks go. They're going to be able to either sign Dre Greenlaw or the linebacker that I love with the Jets, which is the direction I think they should go. 25-year-old guy who had 150 tackles, can play special teams, is super fast. They need to not be the Al Davis. They need to be the Bill Walsh. They need to say to themselves, look, man, we're just not going to have the old guys and have this be a reunion. And I love Dre Greenlaw, but he's coming off an Achilles, and you just can't screw around. You guys have a few years for this window, and you got to get younger and faster and more athletic, and they know that. So, look, that's great, Debo, that you want to be traded. Believe me, they are already trying to trade you. They beat you to the punch, whatever you want to say, however you want to say your ego or talk about your ego. He's not going to be here, and I've been saying it for months. And a lot of the insiders for the 49ers who are tremendous are like, no, they're keeping him. I'm like, look at the logic. They're not keeping him. He's going to be gone. So anyway, let's see how much time do I have before Crew gets here, because Krueger's in Vegas last year too, and so I'd love to do some stuff with Krug. What are we at? 12:22. We can do this. We got enough time. All right, let's do last year in Vegas, and let's talk about. You want to talk more about Debo? We can, because again, it's the Tailgate show, and we can talk about whatever you want. Hang on. I just feel like if I'm doing a Tailgate show, we just shouldn't do too long before plugs of Bloody Marys or anything. And if I could ask you this before I get into last year in Vegas, what is everybody having today? You going beer? Do you do cocktails? Do you like Bloody Marys? Are you a big Bloody Mary fan? Are you a screwdriver person? I told you last night when I was doing a post-game show for Jimmy's debut for the Warriors, in which he scored 25. And by the way, Steph scored 24 in a quarter yesterday to bring them back. They were down like 25. They ended up winning by 21. It was absolutely ridiculous. But I digress. In regards to Debo Samuel and his whole situation, we can talk tons about that if you want to. But I'd love to know what you're drinking as we're hanging out on the tailgate, getting you ready for Super Bowl 59. And Krug's going to join us in about 5 minutes. So to me, and I've been saying it for forever, Debo Samuel wasn't going to be on this team. People were telling me how much money they were going to have to eat. I didn't care. Here's what I know. I know what players they like within the organization, and it's not like they don't like Debo. But what do I tell you again and again about the 49ers? They don't like injuries. And Debo is either hurt playing or hurt not playing way too much, and they're just not going to pay it. They love Juwan Jennings. I told you years and years ago when I met Kyle Shanahan for the first time and did a interview with him, me and Tolbert. He told us flat out during the break, I'm not a good liar. Well, when he just slobbered all over Brock Purdy, there wasn't going to be anything messing around, and they were going to have Brock Purdy. They love the way Juwan Jennings not only catches the ball, but blocks. He's a Kyle Shanahan receiver through and through. They love Brandon Ayuk, or let's be completely honest, okay? They wouldn't put up with the shit that they put up with Brandon Ayuk, because Brandon Ayuk was a major pain last year on the field, off the field. I mean, in terms of just everything, the training camp stuff, if they didn't love Brandon Ayuk, would Kyle Shanahan have sprinted up those stairs to keep him, because they were seconds away from sending him to Pittsburgh, and should have, to be honest, but they didn't. And you know why? Because Kyle Shanahan loves him. He loves Brandon Ayuk. So he's not a good liar. So all you have to do is watch what's happening in the way that Kyle Shanahan speaks, because he's the final decision maker for the team. So he loves Ayuk. He loves Jennings blocking guys into the opposing team's bench and getting into fights like he did with the Cardinals. He loves that. And he loves the toughness of Ricky Pearsall, in that, Pearsall gets shot, does all those things. He thinks Pearsall has a huge upside. I can tell you that for a fact. So there's three guys, and you have a $24 million kick returner. So Debo's asking to be traded because he knows that they're trading him anyway. Thanks, Debo. We were already trying. And if your agent wants to go out there and try to find a deal, go ahead. He's not ever going to play another down for the 49ers. I've been saying this for months, and all the 49ers insiders are like, no, he's going to come. It's like, no, man. Anyway. Ooh, a spicy. See, I don't know if I can start with that, but I can tell you, boy, does that sound good. Spicy margarita with muddled serrano peppers in lime juice. That sounds unbelievable. You are going to like, by the way, I think you're going to really like the Bloody Mary video. I think you're really going to like it. What else do we have? Ooh, there you go. At 9%. I know, 9%. Ooh, that's what I was saying last night or day before. I had a couple of, somebody's going Maker's Mark. Oh, I love Maker's Mark, by the way, Caesar. Oh, do I ever. I love Maker's Mark. That is my thing. I have fixed drinks about feelings. Ooh, you're going Pliny today. Very, very nice. You're going Bloodies. Like I said, I do. I put a lot of citrus in my Bloodies, and they're very good. They're not overly spicy, but good. You're going to see I did the horseradish stuff. We'll do that after we get Krueger on the show in about 5 minutes. But yeah, somebody going rum today. Probably rum and Coke. That's not bad. Not bad at all, Joy. If I do rum and Coke, they do the Cuba Libre or whatever it is with the lime. And I'll do like a Diet Coke. Rum for me, when rum comes into play, you know what's weird? I always talk about how I drink certain drinks at a certain time of year. I never drink rum unless I go on a vacation and then I'm at a beach vacation, and you do the foo-foo drinks, like the mixtures of pina coladas, or you do a thing with like a red lava where they put the the strawberry in the middle of it and stuff like that, and the drinks with the umbrellas. I'll suck down rum for like a week on a beach vacation, and then it's just like, good night. I'm with you, Hurley Bird. Debo in the 11th pick for Myles Garrett. Would Cleveland go for that? Who's Cleveland got on the outside? They got Jerry Jeudy. They can use Debo. They can use Debo in Cleveland because they got Jerry Jeudy. They traded Cooper to the Bills. That didn't work out so well. So, yeah, I mean, they could use another receiver. I don't know what their cap space is. And a principle of the show, as we all know, is you got to look at the other team's the other team's GM and say, okay, I mean, 11 and Debo is absolutely worth Myles Garrett to me. I don't think Debo's done. It's just Debo on this team, the element of surprise of him from the backfield, and he gets shut down every time he's in the backfield now, every time. And as much as I know that Kyle likes him, and he back in the day, a couple of years ago, was a guy that kind of set the tone offensively, that toughness that the 49ers had. But they've got 3 receivers that they're going to use. They're going to use, I'm telling you, Pearsall in the slot next year. And they're going to have Juwan on one side and Ayuk on the other. And I think that, and we're going to talk about a little bit later on in the show because George Kittle talked about his contract. Kittle is going to sign an extension. The demise of Christian McCaffrey, to me, is greatly exaggerated. This dude works his butt off, and he had one off year last year because of injuries, and it's a major one. Achilles is a massive injury. I'm not here to say it's not. But for some weird reason, maybe it's just too much national media that I'm reading, and it's not people in here. And everyone's like, he's washed. McCaffrey's washed. It's like, what would make you think that he's washed? That he had an off year and he's around 30 years old? Have you seen this guy work? Do you know his work ethic? Have you heard of Christian McCaffrey? Have you seen him? Because a year ago right now, he was Saquon Barkley. What Saquon Barkley is going into this game is what Christian McCaffrey was just 1 year ago. And just 1 year ago, the New York Giants said, yeah, Saquon Barkley, we don't need him. And they did that on a national show where they let cameras in their facility and said, we don't need this guy. So we are so fast, especially when it comes to running backs. Oh, they're close to that magical age of 30. I'm telling you right now, Christian McCaffrey, he's fine. So McCaffrey, Kittle, I mentioned it, Ayuk, Pearsall, Jennings, they have plenty of offensive firepower without Debo Samuel making $23 or $24 million. So, yeah, they'll eat a little bit on that, but he's asking for a trade. I find that to be laughable because he knew the minute Brandon Ayuk signed that contract a year ago, and this is where I give Debo a ton of credit. I give Debo a ton of credit because he knew that he wasn't going to be on this team. They just drafted a receiver in the first round. Juwan Jennings is coming on, and Kyle loves him, and that's the key to this whole thing. You've got to be paying attention just a little bit. Not a lot, but pay attention to how much Kyle likes somebody. Not what they say. He was asked that question about Debo. We're not in the business of getting rid of good players. Well, yeah, you are. Because if Dre Greenlaw doesn't agree to a 1-year contract and make good contract, you're going to get rid of him, and he's a good player. Like I said, I'd rather have the Jets linebacker, and I'll ask Krueger about that when we get here. And Krueger's going to join us any minute now, and we'll talk about Debo Samuel asking for a trade. But we're going to get into the game itself as well. But, we're just because of Debo's whole thing, because he's asking for a trade, it's fair enough to be talking about that. We can talk about whatever we want. See, I don't know if I agree with this one. I love you, Kyle. It says, stay away from peanut butter whiskey. My buddy's wife drank those and then went out and got nachos, and there was see, because somebody had a bad night. I love, in fact, when I play the 6-minute, it's about a 5-minute, actually, 5-minute video from my kitchen making the Bloody Marys that I'm going to show you. I'm telling you right now, I love On the Rocks. This is a great drink. Great drink. Don't mix a bunch of stuff today because we're doing Bloody Marys. We're doing Bloodies today, right? But don't mix a bunch of stuff. But there's a few different versions of peanut butter whiskey, but the main one is Screwball, right? That's my favorite, Screwball. And if you do rocks, Screwball, and a splash, just a splash of cranberry juice, it tastes like peanut butter and jelly. And it is so good. Or if you go, Screwball on the rocks is fine by itself. But Screwball splash cran or Screwball splash ginger beer is out of this world. Out of this world. Really good. Love Screwball. I could sit there because it just tastes so good. So good. Yeah, I like Joy a lot. I really like Joy a lot because straight whiskey, that's what I like. I like to put a giant ice cube in it, though. I get the giant ice cubes. Love giant ice cubes. I got to do the giant ice cube. that's just my thing. Is I love the giant ice cube. But if you're saying straight whiskey, I'm not going to say the proper term is being neat. I'm fine with it. I am absolutely. But Screwball is so good. Jesus, Mary and Joseph, let's go. It's funny. Well, we're waiting for. Oh, there's Krueger right there. I was going to tell a story. Thank God for Krug, man. Thank God for Krug. All right, let's properly welcome Krug to the program because he might be getting after it too. How the hell are you? And happy Super Bowl Sunday. How are you?
Man, I'm doing great. I just came from Safeway where, I mean,
it's a madhouse. I went there this morning too. Oh, it's a madhouse.
It's just amazing. It's really amazing what the Super Bowl has become. It just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And, it's funny, they had the Super Bowl marathon this week and, they ran one through whatever, the one that we're seeing today. And, I just decided since I had a bunch of DVR room, I'm like, you know what? I'll just record the first 15 because they're only half hour each. And I'm like, I'll see how many of these I can watch because I don't remember. I mean, I was born in 1970. The first Super Bowl was like 67.
Yeah.
And I had a book as a little kid. Then I read about all these Super Bowls and it was amazing. And it was probably one of the reasons I love football. But the first Super Bowl, there was at the LA Coliseum and there was tons of empty seats.
Right.
By the time the second Super Bowl rolled around, 1/3 of America was watching the Raiders in Green Bay. So the thing took off. To say it was like popular, doesn't even speak to it. The first Super Bowl was like, hey, you could have walked in it, and picked any seat you wanted. By the time the second thing rolled around, it had become huge, and then Namath, of course, made it even bigger with his prediction that we're going to beat the Colts and the whole deal, and then it came through. But then of course you get into the dynasties of the Packers and the Steelers and the Niners, and there's great stories all the way through NFL's history. But it is interesting how quickly the game went from what's this to it's got this is the game, and then it keeps getting bigger and bigger. I mean, the Niners aren't in it. And yet there was not a single parking spot in Countrywood across the street from where I live in Walnut Creek here for Safeway. I mean, and a game doesn't even include the 49ers. So sports is a bigger part of our life than ever. And wow, I mean, this game is huge and I can't wait to see it today.
Krug, I went this morning and I got to tell you something. It was hilarious. I get in there and I go to Safeway just like you. And I spent like $200 because I was going to do this Bloody Mary video, which I did, and all this kind of stuff. And I'm getting all the food and everything, got a bunch of kids around and all this kind of stuff. And I don't know if you've ever done this, but I forgot my wallet and I'm in the self checkout because I don't like to talk to people. So I go through the self checkout all the time. And I tell the lady, my bill there was like $207. And I said, I got to go get my wallet to my car. I'll be back in 2 seconds. I run out to my car. It's not in my car. And I'm like 2 minutes from the safety. So I run, I drive home, I get my wallet. The lady still has the thing open. And like, I don't know how many self-checkouts are, maybe 8. She had held the self-checkout for me because she knows me. I go there so much. But she was pissed because just like you just said, there's a million people in line. The self-checkout line is, from here to Egypt, and the ladies looking at me like, what happened to you? And I left it at home, and I raced into the house, grabbed my wallet, came back, and believe me, she was not happy. She was not happy.
I'm getting word in the chat that my mic has some static. Do you want me to go back out and check it, and because I can switch the cord on it?
Yeah, I'll you know what I'll do here, because I had to do this with George in New Orleans because he had 50
Because I
things.
can
Let me
pop out
just
and check it.
yeah, let me just I'll pop you out for a second, and you give me
Okay.
the thumbs up when you're ready to go. All right, that's Krug. Hang on one second. I'm gonna pop something up here too, since Krug was just saying stuff. Let me go one place here, and what I'll do, and you know what I'm gonna do too. I'm gonna reintroduce Krug and all that kind of stuff, but I'm going to pop this up officially because I want to talk to Krug about the big news from the 49ers today, which is not that. There's a picture of me. Ooh, that's scary. There's a story about Debo today. I'm going to put this on my board here because I know that Krug is going to want to talk about this, which is the Debo news that Adam Schefter reported. So let me get that up on the screen here, and then we'll get there. It is right there. So let me do this when Krug comes back. I can see him. He's working feverishly. See, that's the thing that people don't understand with this now. It's like what Krug and I used to do is Krug and I used to just walk into a studio. Everything was done. We had engineers and there was, guys with microphones and stuff. Krug and I would plop in, he'd be with Gary, or I'd be with Tom, or I'd be with Greg, or he'd be, whatever. And so he'd pop in and all the engineering stuff was done. Like we didn't have a problem. The worst thing that ever happened to me was one time or two times or a couple times, like the mic would fall, the screws would fall and I'd be talking. You'd have to catch your mic and you'd start talking. But the thing is like video, as far as radio goes, is only, a few years old. So it's not even that old. And so all of a sudden you're like, damn. But guys used to do this for us. And now it's like me and Krug, I'm watching him right now. Krug is working like a madman to try to get back on. And usually we had engineers, man. Engineers used to do this stuff for us. And so, it's like now it's like, are you good now? Give me the thumbs up. I can see him right now. Oh, he's giving me thumbs down. He's giving me the thumbs down. He's saying, hang on a second. Okay. It's no problem. Believe me, we can vamp. We have no problem vamping for a little while until we can figure this out with Krug. So he's going to reconnect with me, and we'll get Krug in just a second. But I'm going to reintroduce him. I don't care. I mean, to play the Zydeco music and to get the front thing going, to get all that going again. But let me do this really quick, just because I know this is a big topic they're going to talk about with Krug when he pops on. There's the Adam Schefter right there. The 49ers have granted Debo his agent, Tory Dandy, permission to seek a trade partner. Samuel told ESPN this comes after he asked San Francisco to trade with their players meetings after the season. Well, of course. Who told you that? And everybody else was going, oh, they're going to keep him. Did you hear what John Lynch said? They're going to keep him. They're not in the business of letting good players go. He was a kick returner at the end of the year. Pearsall's going to be in the slot. Ayuk's coming back. They love Juwan Jennings punishing guys, through the bench. He's not going anywhere. So Debo Samuel's gone. He's never going to play another. And I've said that for ever since the Ayuk thing. And I was totally confused by all these people saying, no, he's coming back. He's going to come back. I'm like, he's not coming back. Like he's not coming back. So anyway, we're waiting for Krug. What we'll do is we have the chalkboard on the right side there. Super Bowl tailgate show intro we did last year in Vegas. I haven't even gotten to yet. Review the week. I want to do that with Krug when Krug is here. So when Krug pops back into the show, Krug's going to join us in just a second, and everything's going to be cool. You good to go? Yeah. So yeah, now he's good to go. Okay, I'm sorry. I don't care if we've already done this. You can't do this enough, and we're just gonna do it until, because it's not like we can do it a lot. We can play the New Orleans show, so let's just do it. Okay.
Do a post
On the Krug show tonight. Okay.
Yeah.
Make sure you check that out. I know that you're probably subscribed to the Krug show, but let's just plug the Krug show because it's awesome. You got like 6 million followers. You started this a few years ago. You started this whole thing. Alex Seidman wrote a piece in SF Gate about it. you're a rock star. So what time are you going to be doing that? Just right after the game?
As soon as the game ends, we'll pop on. It's going to be myself, Kev, my son, and some of my regulars, Dan Coach Emilio, my good buddy Ryan Smith, maybe a little Cyrus. Johnny, if you're around, you're more than invited.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're gonna my buddy Frank Red stops by. A lot of the same guys that were on my Niner post game will be on, and sometimes I'll invite JD if JD's around. But usually I just try to get 3 or 4 people in there and just kind of mix it around a little bit and talk a little bit about the game.
Very cool. Let's pop this up before we get into a little Super Bowl, because I know it's the Tailgate show, but this came out and it shocks no one. You and I knew this. I don't know why. I love all the Niners insiders deeply, just like you do. The Matts and Cam and Tracy and all the people that are down there in Lombardi. But I've been saying this till I'm blue in the face, and I know you have too. Debo didn't fit. Once Ayuk signed the extension, Debo wasn't going to come back. And I give him a ton of credit for being mature this whole year, knowing he was not going to be back after this year. Ayuk's going to come back. They love Pearsall. They love his toughness and getting shot and coming back the way he did. And they love Juwan Jennings. Like Kyle Shanahan loves Juwan Jennings almost as much as he loves Brock Purdy because he blocks guys into the bench. So that leaves your fourth receiver making $24 million. He was never going to do that. You and I have been consistent in saying it. And the rest of these guys are like, no, he's coming back. Because did you hear John Lynch say he's coming back? The press conference, it's like he didn't say it emphatically. And now this comes out, not surprisingly at all. The 49ers from Adam Schefter have granted Debo and his agent, Tory Dandy, permission to seek blah, blah, blah. So there you go. What is he worth? That would be my question to you. I didn't think Debo was ever coming back. They said no to third rounders last year, reportedly, which I would have jumped at. Can they get a third for Debo after the season that he just had?
No. I would say he's a 5th round. He's worth a 5th round pick. It is interesting though. If one of the Niner content creators, Steph Sanchez, put this out just this hour. She says, if a trade cannot be consummated, the possibility remains that the Niners could release Debo Samuel. In that scenario, the Niners could use a post-June 1st designation on the transaction after the new league year begins on March 12th and before his option bonus is due. If they do that, that cap hit would be decreased to 10.
Yeah, he's never seen that bonus money. They're not going to pay that to him.
They're not going to pay that.
He's getting cut or traded before that. Yeah.
But here's the thing about that. I hear what she's saying, and it makes perfect sense, and it's logical. But I was sitting there in the room when either Shanahan or Lynch, and I can't remember which one it was, basically said
it was Lynch. It was Lynch.
Was it Lynch? And he said, we're not in the business of giving away good football players.
I laughed. I literally laughed at that. I literally laughed at it.
But that's their salvo to the rest of the league. Hey, we want something for this guy. So I do think that they will make a trade. I do think they will move the player, but I also think that they're not going to release the player. I don't. Well, maybe things will change, right? But I think there'll be enough teams out there that would like to get in front of other teams. Why? Only reason for it is that this guy, even though you know and I know his best football's come and gone, he's kind of a one of one. I mean, he's not. If you like this gadget player and what he's demonstrated, you might look at the Niners O-line and go, hey, look, their O-line's garbage. Our O-line's really good. We put this guy here.
That's a good call right there, bro.
We get this guy here and we'll take him, and this guy can play. I think Baltimore showed interest.
An old school trade. You're talking about an old school trade, right? With Cleveland, because they got a good line.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of the teams that might want him have a good line. Philly might want him. Dallas might want him. Baltimore might want him again.
I'll take that young center. I'll take Cooper Beebe, the kid that Dallas just drafted out of Kansas State.
Oh,
I'd do that straight up.
Oh, he's a horse. He's an absolute horse. Yeah, but I mean, even if you didn't get a player, even if you just got a pick, right? I do think the trade instead of the release is the more likely conclusion.
Yeah, it just made me laugh because all these people around the team saying he's going to be back. I'm like, there's a zero chance. The minute that Ayuk signed that extension, there was zero chance. They had a choice to make, and they signed Jennings to a fair amount. But that was only a 2-year deal, so Jennings is going to be up again. But this, and this is what I was explaining to people before you came on. Kyle, I remember when Tom and I did the first interview with Kyle years ago. And the first thing he said to us off the air is, I'm not a good liar. So when Kyle loves somebody in those press conferences, he salivated over Brock. Brock is staying. He salivated over Jawan Jennings. He's staying. They love the toughness of Ricky Pearsall the season that he just went through. They think he has a lot of upside. He is staying. Dre Greenlaw is very iffy. You and I have talked about that Jets linebacker. Like if you just read the tea leaves very easily, John tries to cover things up a little bit better. Kyle just can't help it. And that's just the way his personality is. So when they say that Debo, we're not in the business of letting good players go. Well, yeah, you are, because you traded DeForest Buckner. Yeah, you are, because you let Eric Armstead go. Yeah, I mean, we can go on down the line, and a lot of it is financial. And for Debo, it's both, right? He declined as a player. He's got a running back body, and that's how he played, and he's kind of on the downside, even though he's a receiver. He's not a great route runner, so he doesn't complement the other players around him, because we saw in the Super Bowl a year ago, Debo couldn't get off any of that Kansas City coverage, and the Chiefs damn well knew it. Until they said, okay, we'll let Jennings try to beat us, and he almost did, but they knew that Debo wouldn't be a problem, and then they figured all this crap in the backfield and all this Debo and as a running back, they've all figured that out. Orbit.
Oh, he averaged 2.3 yards a carry.
That's done.
You can't do that anymore.
Yeah, so that's interesting. Adam Schefter saying today that Debo Samuel has requested a trade, and it's one of those things where it's like, no, I quit. No, you're fired. No, I quit. No, you're fired, because he was going to come back anyway. So whatever the semantics are of that whole thing, Debo's going to be playing in another uniform, and we'll talk about it. Kurt, one of the reasons I wanted to have you on is I wanted to play a couple of cuts for you, and I know you saw this stuff during the week, but Niner-wise, you're so good with this stuff. So let me just play first, and I know you saw this, but let me pop this up. This is Kay Adams and George Kittle. And here's Kittle talking about his contract. And then I want you and I to talk about Kittle here. And I know it's a Super Bowl tailgate show, and we'll get to it. But here is George Kittle. This was a big buzz because apparently they're talking, but George is kind of like, maybe we're not talking too much yet. But here's Kittle with Kay Adams this week in New Orleans on Media Row.
Want to clip this off and send it directly to John Lynch?
John Lynch, Jed York, Kyle Shanahan, send it to all of them.
Bueller, when is this happening? You're entering the last year of your contract.
I am.
I know you want to retire as a Niner, yes?
I'd love to.
What's happening? Pizza.
Pizza's happening, Kay. Waiting on them.
There's no talking yet?
No, I think there's been talking. I think, we're mildly on the same page.
What are we waiting for?
I have no idea.
Okay, that's not great, because when George says waiting on them, and again, it's sometimes it's what people say, but Krug, as you know, having done this a long time too, it's how they say it. And George is the most positive guy you could ever meet. In fact, years ago, one of the reasons why maybe they were going to let George go, or thinking about it around his age 30 season, was he doesn't have an off button, and it kind of, some people in the building were like, man, this guy doesn't have an off button. And then they draft tight ends. If you didn't believe me, they drafted a 3rd round tight end in Latu, and they drafted a 6th round guy in Willis, who's still around kind of. But they've been trying to ever since, Reed was decent, came over from Washington, but these Eric Sauberts of the world and everything. So they can't get George off the field. They were frustrated because George got hurt. But I got to tell you, they had to have reconsidered everything, because George could have just sat this season out, a lot of this season, and he didn't. And he played balls out because he wanted to be a leader on this team, even though they were losing. And he had a hell of a season. He's the best tight end in the league. It's not Kelsey. It's not Bowers. It's George. And he's a great leader on this team. And he's going into the last year of his deal. And I was looking at his deal the other day, Krueger. I didn't realize it jumps from 12 to 22. So he's not going to play on this deal. No. So they're going to have to extend him and lower the number. So whether it's 2 years, whether it's 3 years, whatever, A, he's earned it. B, this was actually supposed to be a dummy year on his contract, because it jumps from 12 to 22. You're not paying your tight end that. So something's got to get done here. So we're sitting here focusing on Brock, and we should be. But here's George Kittle sitting there, and he needs a new contract before the season starts, and he deserves it.
Yeah, and it's going to happen, and he's going to get it, and it's just not, these things are going to happen in the right order, and the first order of business is Brock, and you're going to make sure you take care of that contract. Then and I think that's going to happen before the NFL calendar year begins. And I've been talking about this for a couple of weeks. I think I brought it up to you the other day when we did the live stream, that, what was the deadline on the Brock thing? And everybody was saying, well, it's, mini camp, it's training camp, it's the draft, it's this. I'm like, no. It's way earlier than that. It has to be when the new calendar year starts, so the 49ers can go, if they want to go spend money on T. Higgins, or Chris or Drew Dahlman or whoever it's going to be, DJ Reed, they got to know what their budget is, and they're not going to know their budget if their biggest contract is still out there unsettled. So I personally think that Brock comes first. Then they'll probably get into free agency and make some additions. George has already, I'm sure, been communicated with as far as his agent goes, as far as they need a couple guys that they're willing to play ball with them as far as restructures, and the guys who play ball with you restructure wise always get taken care of. So they're gonna turn some of that money into a longer term deal, get him more guaranteed guaranteed money. So that's I think it. Let's just say this: if you're a Niner fan that's concerned that it won't get done, don't be, because he's a priority. And they're also running out of guys that will play ball with them that they can restructure that are good enough to restructure and keep long term. But he's one of them. And as you said, he's the best in football. He's a great run blocker. He's a great pass protector. If you could clone him, you would. The problem is there's no backups, and they have Mason Klein, who's a good receiver, but the rest of their tight ends are horrible.
And how hard have they've tried so hard for so many years, and they just can't get it. And the irony with Kittle is Kyle Shanahan and this organization is play hard, play balls out, play hard. Then when the guy gets hurt, they go, why are you getting hurt, man? We got to let you go because you're hurt. Because you asked me to play that way. And George Kittle is the exact example of it. But this year was different because you were around the team a lot too. And this year they're stinking. It's clear they're stinking. And George Kittle said, you know what? I'm banged up. I'm banged up all the time. And I'm just going to take this year off. And a lot of guys did that for the 49ers. And you know who didn't? He didn't, and Bosa didn't. And, a lot of people could be watching today going, well, yeah, that's what they do. A lot of guys check out, especially when it's a season like this, when you expect to make the Super Bowl. And not only did George not check out, he was banged up, but he kept playing and kept playing and kept playing. And the reason why, he was like, I'm going to send a message to others on this team and within the organization that says you don't quit. And if you're having a bad year, you're going to play harder and you're going to be more positive. And I give him a ton of credit. And the organization has gone from, and you know this too, from he's getting hurt a lot. He's approaching 30. He doesn't have an off switch. We kind of don't love that. Maybe there's maybe he's one of the guys, even though it's not a position that makes a ton of money. Maybe when Brock's contract comes up, he's going to be one of the guys. And that's why they drafted tight ends in the 3rd and 6th round 2 years ago. They were looking to replace him. And then to have him have the kind of season he had and to stay relentlessly positive like he does, they have no choice now, and he's not going to play on the $22 million that he's due this year. The cap hit, it goes from 12 to 22, and I didn't realize that till the other day I looked at it. They're going to extend him. They should extend him. But when I see that piece with Kay Adams where he says, I don't really know what's going on, I get it. It's kind of early, but I guarantee you, if you ask Brock Purdy if there's stuff going on, they're talking to Brock Purdy. And they got to get Kittle done, and they got to – look, Hufunga's not coming back. Dre Greenlaw is going to be interesting because I'm going to pop this one up because I keep bringing this guy up to you, and you love this guy too. But if I had it to do either Greenlaw or Sherwood, I mean, look at that. 154 tackles, 10 tackles for loss, 3 pass breakups. He's 25. And the part that I love here is Sherwood can play downhill with speed, cutting off the ball, coverage upside. The best football is ahead of him. I love Dre Greenlaw, but you've either got to be Al Davis or you got to be Bill Walsh. And to me, I love Dre, but he's coming off an Achilles. I'd love Sherwood and Warner more than I would love Greenlaw and Warner. And I know people are going to get mad at that, but this guy's got upside, and Saleh comes over from the Jets. And that's when you start making these tough decisions. But if you want to stay in the window for longer than what the national media thinks they're going to stay in it, these are the kind of tough decisions you got to make, to me.
Yeah, I mean, it's just there's all different kinds of ways. You got options in the offseason of how you want to build your team and what you want to go after and that kind of thing. And, there's no question signing Dre Greenlaw is something that Fred wants. I think Fred would probably take less to make sure Dre comes back. Dre's more than just a linebacker at this point. I mean, he's a culture player. And I as much as I like Sherwood, I do really like Sherwood. I would Dre back, and then I would go invest 2 or 3 of my draft choices in some of these really good young linebackers that are in this draft. I'll give you 3 names that I really love. Chandler Martin from Memphis.
By the way, I love when you do this. By the way, I'm aroused. I love when you do this.
He's unbelievable. He's just an unbelievable linebacker, and he's probably going to go in the 5th round. I mean, he's way. Demetrius Knight from South Carolina is one of the fastest linebackers in this entire draft, and David Enda from Texas. This is another guy.
Yeah, like him.
Casey Osai from Louisiana. But there's like 4 or 5 of these guys that are really, really good and can run like the wind, but they have to kind of be taught a little bit about, what's the Niners culture. And I think I'd rather bring Dre back for one more year at $6 million if I could, and then draft this position. And maybe I'd even start with the Butkus Award winner, Jalen Walker, because I think he's really special too. But I would definitely bring Dre back and then draft this position 2 or 3 times in this draft and get – because right now, they got Winters, and I like Winters, but the other guys besides him are more special teamer types. Yeah. I think they got to go with replacement linebacker types and then play them on special teams, not career special teamers. I mean, nothing against Curtis Robinson, nothing against Flanagan Fowles. They're good on special teams. But coach up, get young guys who can potentially start for you, and then play them on special teams. I'd rather do that. I think they're better football players. That's why they're future starters, and you're better covered against injuries if Greenlaw or Warner or any of these guys go down. But that's how I'd play my hand. I do like Willie Gay in the free agent market. I do like he runs really well. And I really like Sherwood quite a bit. But I think Sherwood's going to cost you. He's coming off a career year. He was their highest rated defender. I think there's going to be a pretty sizable market, where Dre's market might be pretty muted because of he only played 34 snaps the whole year. Right. So that's how I'd play it. But I have no problem if they brought in Sherwood either.
I love the kid, and I just with Saleh's connection, hopefully there's something that can be done. And again, I know it's blasphemy, and I'm looking at some of the comments right now that, you can't lose Dre, and I completely get it, man. But these are the decisions, even if it's not Dre Greenlaw, these are the decisions that extend your window or limit your window. If you fall in love with players, you cannot do that. You just can't. And when their expiration date is up on the milk, you got to let them go, and you got to move on, or you're going to be stuck in the past, and you're never going to win this elusive Super Bowl. By the way, just because I want to play a couple more cuts and then I'll get you out of here, I'll play a couple more cuts from Media Row this week from some 49ers players. This is the first guy I would go after. He would be my Willie Adamas, and you mentioned him. But, I mean, just have people read this whole thing with him. And, again, we know who he is. You and I had his dad in studio as a honorary captain before, and people know Drew Dahlman. I mean, he went to Stanford. People know. But look at the bottom here. Best suited for zone run game, his pass blocking win rate of 95.1%, 9th among centers. And then go on down here. It mentions a couple of teams like Chicago and New England. But to me, you're talking about it. Sorry about that. Let me pop this up again. 95% he wins on the pass block. He's a zone guy and has great movement. I know at 6'3", 300, he's not as big, but he's 26 years old. And I'm sick and tired of seeing the 49ers center on the ground. Like, this guy, I need a pass blocker for Drew, because in the middle, when it comes to Brock, I can't have middle pressure on a quarterback that's barely 6'1", and he might not even be that. I want Dahlman as my center. There's a guy, I'd love this just because he's hurt, but there's a couple of really nice guards. James Daniels being one. I popped him up, and look at the beginning.
Yeah, the
Achilles. And the thing is, that's not horrible because that puts his number down. But look at this block win rate, 82.7 behind Quentin Nelson, and a pass block win rate of 93.1. And he's only 27. So you and I sit there and talk about guys in their prime. That's how you win titles. Dahlman, 26. Daniels, 27. Pooney, just off a rookie year. You've got your interior offensive line set for 3-4 years. You got to go out and get a tackle to eventually replace Trent. I know people don't like, the right tackle. I understand McKivitz. I get it. But if you fix the interior offensive line, and you can fix it with 2 free agents right there, don't draft any of these guys. I don't want to hear it. You got to draft the interior of the defensive line. And then the other thing, and I want to play this for you, what do you think is realistic as far as Myles Garrett is concerned? This is George Kittle. And again, I know you saw this. Offering to put up some money of George Kittle's money, and George Kittle later said, no, I'm not doing that, bro.
But George Kittle would not be putting up any money.
He's not putting up money. Let me pop this up real quick, and then I want to talk about this because this would fix a lot
those guys
of
go.
things.
James Daniels.
Go ahead. Yeah,
I mean, James Daniels is 325 pounds.
That's what I want.
He went to Iowa. He's Ferentz is just one of the great coaches, and so he's well coached, right? Really smart player, drafted by Chicago on some bad teams, wound up in Pittsburgh, really was starting to play well, then had the Achilles. Yeah, I like James Daniels quite a bit. I think Daniels might have been one of the guys coming back in the Ayuk trade. If they had pulled the trigger on it, it would have been nice, but then he got hurt. But I think James Daniels, I don't think the Achilles is the career ender that it used to be. James Daniels would be a really nice player. As far as Dahlman, I really like Dahlman a lot. I did the Stanford pre when he was there. He's tough and smart, and he's just a really, really good player. But I don't think, somebody put in the chat, I think they franchise him. I think there's a chance that he's got a massive market. Yeah, so they could franchise him.
You know, he grew up in the Bay Area. His dad was a Niner. What you start looking at, and you know, you start looking at connections. And I know you know this, but the kid from the Jets, Robert Saleh, was his coach. Dahlman, his dad was a Niner. He went to Stanford. Like, those are the guys that you get. It's very rare that some dude that doesn't have a connection with you comes out of nowhere, and it's like, what?
Well, you only if you pay the most money, and the Niners aren't going to be in the mode of paying the most money.
No.
So they're looking for guys that have been on some bad teams, have a connection to the area, the team, the franchise, or somebody in it, and want to take maybe a slightly less than market value deal on a short term to see if they can get on a team that could wind up on, winning the Super Bowl. I think that's probably the sell if you're the Niners.
All right, let's get to Myles Garrett. How realistic is Myles Garrett? Here is Here is Fred Warner from Media Row in New Orleans earlier this week.
Paid. Brock needs to get extended. You got Hufanga. You got all these things. You need a DB.
Right.
Where is there room for Myles Garrett there?
There's always room for a Myles Garrett
Explain
on the
why.
team.
Explain why.
This is a Hall of Fame player. Not just a Hall of Famer, one of the best to ever do it, and just a super soldier. You see him walking around here. He looks a lot different than a lot of these other cats that are walking around here.
Yeah.
So I don't know how that would even come about, how we would get that done. But I know there's some way, somehow, we can figure that out.
Yeah, like John
Me
Lynch.
and George can just give a little bit of our funds over to Myles Garrett. How about that? How does that sound?
Now, you say that again. You're saying George.
I'm including George in the
George,
equation.
you're making such good money with the scent and Experian that you're going to give a paycheck to
Myles Garrett.
Myles.
That's
okay, well, you heard it here first.
And in turn, we get
All right, there's George. George Kittle already came out and said, no. You're not taking any of my money. But what's funny is that when people hear something like this, they automatically think, well, my team doesn't have a chance. I did do a whole breakdown, johnlundunleashed.com, and I did a whole write-up on who I think is in it and why and where the Niners sit as far as Myles Garrett, so people can check that out. But I'd give up the number 11 pick for Myles Garrett. There's no question. He's 30 years old. If they can fit an extension in, which, again, they did a great job in bringing that $50 million over. Brock's not going to make 50 the first year. They can get the things done that they need to. They could get a Dahlman. They could get Garrett. They could get the thing done with Purdy. They could get all those things done in this offseason, and the number keeps going up in the NFL. He's going to hamstring them later, but not right now. But let's just talk about Myles Garrett for just a second. You put him opposite Bosa, and then it's not that it doesn't matter who's inside, but it does. But they are going to get singled inside. The tight end chips, the running back chips. Who are you going to send that at? You're not going to send it to Bosa every single time. You got Garrett on the other side. It makes your defensive backs who are young better. I'm not going to say it's critical that they get him, but they need to get in there. And the one thing that I think becomes an issue that people think is with Myles Garrett, he said point blank, he said it on with Kay Adams. He said it in his release where he said he wanted to be traded. He wants to win. He's going to the Hall of Fame and he knows it. He wants to win now. So can the 49ers convince him that this year was a one-off and say, you can be across from Nick Bosa? And here's the other thing where, some people say, well, the Niners won't do this. They are aggressive. We know that. So if they can convince Myles Garrett, they can win. The Giants never can, but I think the Niners can. If they can convince Myles Garrett, they can win. Would you give up 11, or do you think that's too steep?
Well, I wouldn't want to give up 11. I'd want to trade back to like 15 or 18 and then maybe give up that. But I'll say this, there's no cap problem. He's like a $6.5 million hit on the cap. So it's a very cap friendly contract he has. So that's unique to have that special of a player with that, that favorable of a contract. That almost makes him more valuable and more, maybe even more costly. It's an interesting thing. I mean, here's the thing that I know about the front seven. is that when you have nothing on your front seven until somebody commands a double team. So now you got Nick Bosa, and he commands a lot of doubles. All right, but there's nothing like it if you can get that second guy who commands a double team on the same line. And that's what they thought they were getting in Hargrave, and they didn't actually get that. They thought with Hargrave that he'd be doubled inside and that Bosa would be doubled outside. Everybody else would get one-on-ones, and it would just kind of be a ready-made deal. But Hargrave didn't command doubles like that. But Myles Garrett would. And they've never had a player like this. I mean, they had D Ford, they've had Ebukam, they've had some good players, Leonard Floyd, but nothing like this. And this is, there's not a lot of choices when you have two guys on your front four that have to be doubled. And it's the same. I know guys in the personnel game, John, who say if you have a guy who's on your front seven in any spot on your front seven that commands doubles, that you would never ever trade him. That guy has to be kept in free agency. So, I know guys who believe strongly about that. So this is a guy. So the draft picks are nice, and I'm the biggest draft guy there is. But that is a fact. But there is a failure rate that is involved with the picks.
Boom. Boy, did you just nail it?
Not every pick hits, and that's why the key in trading players for picks is get multiple picks. So. I would say it's going to take 2 1s, and I do think
you think it's going to be 2 1s for Garrett.
I think it would take 2 1s, but I think it could take 2 1s over a 2 or 3 year period, and it could take might be able to trade from 11 down to 24, and then trade 24 for Garrett. You know what I mean? I do think it doesn't have to be high ones. I just think they have to be ones.
That's interesting right there. So you take that, you trade, you get 2. And then you tell Cleveland, all right, we'll trade you these 2, which was a 1. Yeah, I wouldn't have a problem. Look, it's a couple of things for me. Number one, he's 30. He's going to be around 4 or 5 years, and you put him across from Nick Bosa, and you're cooking with gas. It makes your interior defensive line better no matter who you pick up. It makes your linebackers better. All of a sudden, Fred and whomever is next to Fred is better because of those guys. But the big thing for me is it's great having Saleh back, but what the Eagles did, if we want to comp to the Eagles who are now in the Super Bowl, is they bring in Vic Fangio. They bring in a new defensive coordinator, but they had young linebackers. They had some great guys that they had drafted along the defensive line led by Jalen Carter. But then they went out and they got Quinyon Mitchell and Cooper DeJean, and they did a great job with their draft. Well, the Niners have this young secondary who I really, really like. And Renardo's going to be on that one side, and Demo's going to be on another. And maybe it's DJ Reed coming from the Jets, and now you have those 3 corners. But you have young safeties. Mustafa's going to come downhill. Brown didn't have a great year, let's be honest. The best thing for those guys to help everything out is Myles Garrett. He's like putting a number 4 hitter in that, Aaron Judge, when the Giants were after him, in the middle of the lineup. And it's not only that you're getting him and he's so good, it's that you're making everybody better. You're making everybody on the D line better because you're not getting double chipped and so forth. The linebackers are more free to roam, like when the team was so good with that defensive line. And then the defensive backs who are young, it's less time that the quarterback has to pick them apart. So Myles Garrett is not the elixir for everything defensively, but he makes every single player better on the defense, just like Nick Bosa. I'd give up 11 if I had to give up more, because the reality is that the Niners under John and Kyle have done most of their work in rounds 2 through 7, not 1. And maybe that shouldn't be a factor, because you don't want to be at 11. And if you're at 11, you want to get a really great player, so you're not there very often. But to me, if you're in the Super Bowl window, as they are, and I don't care what the national media says they are, and you know that, Krug, you go out and you get Myles Garrett, and you're good now. You're not waiting for a guy. You're good right now, really good right now.
I mean, there's 2 ways to think about this. One, take the Rams, for example. They were missing on number 1 picks, right?
Yeah.
So they said, screw this. We're going to trade our ones. We're going to trade them for Stafford, for Ramsey, for Von Miller. They got some really special individual players. They won the Super Bowl, okay? So they did it. But what does it demand? It demands that you have a certain amount of roster depth, and I don't know if the Niners have that right now. And also demands that you really continue to hit on day 2 and day 3 of the draft, because you're not going to have. But here's why this is kind of a no-brainer. Here's who the Niners and this current regime have invested first-round picks in. If we need to remember a little walk down history lane.
Don't you do it.
Reuben Foster, Solomon Thomas, Mike McGlinchey, Nick Bosa, Javon Kinlaw, Brandon Ayuk.
Oh, Lord. That's what I'm saying.
Trey Lance.
Yeah, no.
Trey
and you give up 2
Lance.
first-round picks. And Trey Lance, and remember, Trey Lance for
I said it 3 times, but they invested 3.
Oh, yeah, that was a good call right there by you. Yeah, you're right.
Drake Jackson was their first pick in 2022.
Painful.
Jair Brown and Jake Moody and Cam Latu were their 3 picks in third round.
I'm going to have to go get another Bloody Mary.
23.
You're killing me. But
And
you're
then
right.
Ricky-
I mean, that's
and then
what I
Ricky
mean.
Pearsall. So the Niners have a hard time picking their nose. So I would say, yeah, probably trading for Myles Garrett's probably smart.
Yeah, that's kind of the equation to me is 2 through 7, they crush it. In the first round, they haven't been great. By the way, Debo's asked for a trade if you're just joining the Tailgate show, and Krueger is good enough to join us. Larry Krueger from the Krug Show is awesome. People got pissed off at this week. And by the way, how many beignets is Debo eating? Either that's not a favorable side, but that looks like me. I have no problem with him, by the way, supporting his guy, A.J. Brown, but he knew at that point he's not coming back to the Niners anyway. He can wear any jersey. I don't care. He's not going there. But, dude, for the love of God, man, he looks like Belichick with his girlfriend the other night. Like, I know that, physical appearance should not be show fodder because, believe me, I'm throwing rocks at a glass house here. But, my God, Debo, like, cut the beignets, bro. I don't know if you could trade him after seeing that picture. Yeesh. He does not look good, bro.
It's like Mac. Remember the Mac Jones picture that when it was going around?
Yeah, he had the shirt off and he had the Mahomes bod going.
Yeah.
Lord, man. Jeez. All right. One more for you, and then I got to show you one picture, and then I got to get you the heck out of here because you got stuff to do. Here's Joe. And by the way, I want to talk about this too. People were asking me how much they thought Joe got to appear at the Super Bowl, and you and I know this. First of all, the reason why Joe isn't in a lot of events for the 49ers is because as much money as the 49ers have, they can't afford Joe very often. Like, Joe won't even go to Levi's Stadium for less than 6 figures. And so I got to imagine that Joe is down with Guinness and all the different advertisers he has. He's probably not in New Orleans for less than $500,000. And people have to realize that Joe Montana was the first $1 million quarterback. He was on the cover of Sports Illustrated in 89 or something. It was 89. And he was the first $1 million quarterback. And now quarterbacks are making $2.5, $3 million per game. And so Joe's got to make up for the money, So Joe he doesn't show up for anything. So anyway, that is the backdrop. But here's Joe talking about the number one topic of the offseason, Brock Purdy, and if the 49ers should pay him.
Any receiver on the screen.
No, hang on. Let me restart this.
Show you 4 or 5 guys in the league making tons of money that haven't produced anywhere near what he's been able to do. And they just had one of those years where guys are getting hurt offensively, defensively. Craziness in the beginning of the year with, the talking trades with the wide receiver, and then he gets hurt. They just had one of those years you just can't wait to get behind you.
Yeah, just chalk it up to that.
Move on.
But you think Purdy is the quarterback of the future, pay him? And
yeah, I think he's got a good understanding. I think one of the things, I thought they pressed a little bit towards the end every time they got behind. So you saw Purdy get sacked more times. First of all, you've got some offensive linemen who are hurt. And so now you're making him hold the ball longer. And sometimes, I don't know, it's only on TV that I can see, and which I hate to make the judgment. But when the guy gets sacked and I can't see a wide receiver or any receiver on the screen, it looks like they're trying to push the ball down the field, and that's not what they do. That's not typically what they do.
All right, so there's Joe. Typical Joe fashion, breaks it down very, very well. But there's not a debate to me anymore. It's just, and you were saying this the other day on your show. It's not a matter of when, or excuse me, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And you were at that press conference in which Kyle Shanahan basically licked him from head to toe. I mean, he's not going anywhere, and that's Kyle. So all this conversation of maybe Sam Darnold, maybe this, maybe that, there's nowhere to go. The good get paid great. That's just the way it goes. He's getting paid. It's just a matter of how quickly can he get paid so that he can take that newfound money and go down to San Diego or something and get not Debo, but Ayuk and Pearsall and Kittle and Juwan Jennings and all these guys, and they get, they all throw together in the offseason so they can get back on the same page, because people were telling me, I was talking about this. Well, he's on the same page as Ayuk. No, he's not. He's on the same page as Pearsall. No, he's not. Like, those intricate plays. And Joe said a very interesting thing there that you and I have talked about a lot, which is the more players that got hurt, the more Brock pressed. And that's not Brock. Brock's got to play within himself and have that talent around him. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's 3 quarterbacks, I think, in Mahomes, Allen, and Jackson, and sometimes Stafford, who can just, it doesn't matter really what's around them. They can just be great. But that's not Brock. So he's got to get these players back. He's got to relax. He's got to rely on the defense. We talk about complimentary football, Krug, is that they didn't have a good defense. They didn't have good special teams. He had a bunch of injuries. So in his mind, I think Brock said to himself, I got to put this whole thing, because the special teams stink and the defense stinks and we're missing guys. I got to put more on my shoulder. So I got to make crazier plays. And that will never be Brock Purdy.
Yeah, I mean, just, he lost a ton of weaponry, right? I mean, he lost Ayuk, he lost CMC. The number that surprised me is how much his yards per attempt was greater this year than ever before, and that makes no sense. Why would he, without his number one receiver, why would his yards per attempt be the highest of his career? But, he is an aggressive quarterback. He likes to take shots downfield. And when they lost Ayuk, you would think they would have focused on the underneath stuff, but they really didn't. And his average depth of target this year was 9.0, highest of his career. So he's an aggressive guy. He's going to take chances. That's who he is. He loves to let it rip. And, but the Niners' weapons have big names, but CMC was out. Ayuk was out. Kittle's 30. JJ runs 4.7. Debo is a shadow of what he was. So his weapons are not that great. And so it's really up to Lynch to get him more dynamic speed at running back, wide receiver, and tight end, and a better line. He's got to, the line's not good enough. His weapons aren't fast enough and explosive enough. Get him a better line with a couple more explosive weapons. Get the ball out of his hand a little bit faster, a little bit more, with a little bit better rhythm. Stop having him take as many chances down the field. Why are you driving the ball down the field all year if you don't have Ayuk? That's probably why the interceptions went up. So I just think that it's hard to evaluate the quarterback versus what's going on around him. They got to get a better line. They have to get better weapons.
Yeah, well said. There's a guy that you like, we both like actually, in DJ Jones. I think DJ Jones would be a great guy for the Niners to get. So there's that as well. I gotta let you go. And again, Krug is so great with his time. Show is so great. The Krug Show. Make sure you do it after the game, after the Super Bowl. You're just going to jump right on, right? You're going to be right on right after the Super Bowl.
I am, but though I do have sounds like the chat's in, the mic's a little crackly, so we might have
it's popping a little bit. It's not.
We might have to make some alterations.
But look, I said this before. I think CMC is going to be fine. I think everybody's overrating it. He is the hardest working guy in the NFL. I bet he lives in Germany right now. I mean, whatever they can do over there, we'll fix this for you, Christian. I mean, it's going to get done, and he's going to come back. And I just think it's hilarious that year to year, a guy who deserves the benefit of the doubt. I get it. It's running backs. They get to a magical age. I understand that. But again, a year ago, Saquon Barkley gets released by the Giants, and they look like jackasses. A year ago, that's who he was. By the way, speaking of a year ago, this is where we were. Look at this. That was a year ago. Look at that. That was a year ago. I was taking film of that. Like that. And then look at this. I was walking into the radio, but this was the radio booth a year ago. I was getting to work. I was getting ready for pregame. There was no one in the building 1 year ago.
Really thought the Niners were going to win that game.
Bro, me and you both. I mean, anybody who asked me that whole week, because I did a bunch of prop bets before the game. I was at Mandalay Bay, and I did a bunch of prop bets, and I walked over to the game, and there was literally no one there because we do about a 19-hour pregame back in the day. But anybody and everybody, I had lots of friends down there who were going to parties, and some were going to the game. And my sister's brother, who's going to win? Do you think they're going to win? Should I go big on the Niners? And I went big on the Niners. I go, they're better. They're better than the Chiefs this year. They are going to win the game. And it's just, it was such a bummer. I mean, that was when there was hope. You know what I mean? Like, I walked in there and I walked around the whole stadium, and it was just like, look at that. There's no one there yet. And I was just like, I envisioned at that point, Krug, confetti. Like, I was just all I could think of was that confetti that I had to watch on the field in Miami as I did the postgame show. I thought the confetti was coming down in the Niners' favor. There was no doubt in my mind before the game right there. I was going, they're going to win this game. I really thought they were going to win. I was bummed and I was surprised that they didn't win. I really thought they were going to win that game.
Are you looking at Travis Kelce's outfit walking in?
Yeah.
It's just brutal.
I'm telling you, dude. He is
his last game,
work, isn't he? Could be. Why the hell would you play anymore? Is there a point? I mean, seriously, is there a point to playing again or playing anymore?
Well, you just keep winning.
Yeah, I guess so.
Just keep winning.
Yeah.
He looks like a guy who dyes his hair.
Oh, there's no doubt. He's been
very brown.
He's been Taylor Swiftized. I mean, he used to be kind of rugged and cool, and he would shave his head and he'd have a Fu Manchu. Now he's like, and he used to dress kind of silly and stupid and immature like we all do. And now he's like this, she has totally got to him. She has totally got to him. By the way, who are you not rooting for? Because we don't like either of these teams. Before I let you go, who are you rooting less against? Like who? Because I'm having I'm having a hard time with this one, man.
I wagered.
I'm having a real hard time. Oh, you did?
This is what I took for more money than I've ever bet in my entire life. No,
seriously?
No. Just joking. Just a small amount of money, but I took Chiefs to the under on the teaser. So I went Chiefs. I got Chiefs plus 6.5, and I got under 56. So I teased it up and went under.
I think your under 56 is a nice play, which means it'll go over. But everybody always goes over, especially they look at the offensive weapons. But both of these teams are really good defensively.
Yeah,
really good defensively.
I like the under 56.
I like the under here.
And then come on, you're going to beat the Chiefs by more than you're going to beat them by more than 6.5. I mean, I would have loved to have gotten one more point there and have 7.5 for sure. But
yeah, people are going with the under. Look at that. Interesting.
Yeah,
people are liking it. There you go. There's a Chiefs. I'm struggling just because I hate the whole narrative of the referees. Anyway, we can get into that a little bit later at some other point. Let me get a couple of stars here because
somebody had a picture of the refs warming up and said the Chiefs are getting ready for the Super Bowl. I had a picture of the refs. It's awesome.
Let's see. There is Fangio career record versus Mahomes. Look at that. Krug 0-7.
It's actually 0-8. It's 0-8.
0-8. Look at you. Krug's on it. I'm gonna sneeze. Hang on. Okay. Let's see. One more, and then I'll get you out of here. BA won't play the first half. I don't know. BA had that. I don't know that. Have you heard that when BA is coming back?
No, but I do expect him to miss the first half of the season. I mean, he tore the ACL, the MCL, and the meniscus.
Yeah.
So I would say he's probably gone for half the year. My bigger concern is not how many games is he gone. It's when he comes back, is he diminished? And how diminished is he? Because he's likely to be diminished.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. All right. So what do you think today? Give me some give me a number. What do you got?
I think it's going to be something like, I think it's going to be a good game. I think it's going to be very close. And I think there's going to be points, but I still like it under. I'm going to say 24-21.
Ooh. Last second field goal?
24-21. No, actually, I don't think, I think it's going to be 24-21 and the Eagles score the touch. I think it's 24-14 and then 24-21.
Oh, and they just, they get to make it closer.
Yeah. So I'm going to say 24-21. That would be 48 total points. And I do think the Chiefs will figure out I can't ever really pick Mahomes to lose to Hurts.
That's what I'm saying. And last year I bet against Mahomes in a big way. Like all my stuff was Niners related. And what I should have done before the game, I went all these different props. I had Juwan Jennings as MVP. I did a bunch of weird MVP things and almost got that one. But I thought I should have went a bunch of Chiefs in the bets and then was hoping for the Niners, and then at least I would have won a bunch of money. But I went all in on the Niners. I wanted to win, and I did all these different bets right before the game. Here I am with my badge on in the sports book before the game. But and I lost all of it. And I'm like, oh, that sucked.
And now they're
you know what I told people? You know what I told people? I keep saying I'm going to let you go, then I don't. You know what I told people? You and I sat next to each other in Super Bowl 47 in the Superdome when the lights went out. So you and I were sitting literally right next to each other during that game. And then Miami hurt a lot. And I don't know. I'm not going to blame Tim Ryan because he'll punch me right in the face. But when I was in that little horrible corner booth that Miami sits us in, it's just like an afterthought. And Kyle Juszczyk scores that touchdown and you go up 20-10. And that was the year that Kansas City had come back on everybody, right? Krueger on the Texans had him and everybody had him and they came back on everybody. And he turns to me midway through the fourth quarter at 20-10 and he says, I think we're going to win it. I think we're going to go in it. And I go, you can't say that. You can't say that. And of course, Jet Wasp later and all that kind of crap. They all are different because, the thing is, I was watching this the other day. Jacoby Jones takes back that touchdown and it's 28-6 Ravens. Even though I thought the Niners were far superior from a talent standpoint, the Ravens kicked their ass a lot of the game. So I can't say that one, even though they had the chance at the goal line. The game in Miami, Super Bowl 54, the Niners were the better team. Mahomes was so confused that whole time, and Warner got the interception, and Tarvarius got the interception late, and they were better. They were I've never seen Mahomes so confused in my life. They were better. Should have won that one. And then last year, I of all the things that you and I have talked about a million times, right, about that game last year, the one that gets me is, and I hope that Kyle, whether it's Clay Kubiak or somebody getting to him, Kyle, you're such a brilliant play caller. I don't want you to go for it on fourth down all the time like Dan Campbell or that kind of stuff. But just like we all knew in the booth last year, at the radio booth last year, if they kicked that field goal, that Kansas City and Mahomes is going to come down and score a touchdown and beat them. So it wasn't the fourth down calls that got me at the end of regulation and in overtime. It was the third down call. Make the third down call so that you're going fourth down. Set up the third down for the fourth down call because in overtime you had to score a touchdown because you kicked that field goal. Mahomes is going to beat you with a touchdown. We all knew it. Everybody knew it. You knew it. I knew it. The fans knew it. Chiefs fans knew it. Niners fans knew it. You could be drinking 92 Bloody Marys and drunk out of your ass watching that game going, if they don't score a touchdown. So everyone looks at those fourth down plays. It wasn't the fourth down plays. It was the third down plays, which Kyle didn't set up the fourth down plays. Pedal to the metal. And I love Kyle. And he shouldn't be fired and it shouldn't be talked about. But the one thing he's got to change a little bit is his aggressiveness, because the reason he gets caught in these games, the reason they don't come back, he's got to be aggressive. And if he wants to win a Super Bowl, and if they keep running into Mahomes, you have to assume Mahomes is going to score touchdowns when you score field goals. Like today, Philadelphia, they'll go for it because they have Jalen Hurts, but they'll go 4th and 1, 4th and 2. And one of the reasons is, they're aggressive by nature, but number two is they know 15's across from them, and field goals won't beat that guy, man. They don't.
Well, I think you're totally spot on this. At the end of every year, every football team does, they do their autopsy on the season. What happened? Why we lost? Why did we lose? We lose because of our players, coaches, whatever. And I hope Kyle this year, when they did the autopsy, because that's when you make your changes. That's when you make your adjustments. Okay, we do it this way. Well, you know what? Now we don't do it this way. Now we do it this other way. The analytics division of the NFL has moved from 3rd and 4 pass and then punt or kick field goal to run and set up 4th and short. And that's where the analytics crowd is. And the Niners aren't there yet. So it's time for the 49ers to get there, make your adjustments, start to go for it a little bit, set up 4th and goal. First of all, the biggest key of the offseason, people say, what's the biggest key? And I've talked about, they need defensive line, they need offensive line, they need this, they need that. They need a receiver, they need a bunch of things. The number one problem that has to be solved is that the Niners don't, can't, or won't run the ball a red zone. So I don't know which it is, can't, won't, or don't, but all I know is it's not happening. And so the only people that potentially can be responsible are your back, so get a new back, your center, so get a new center, your guards, and one of them's Pooney, so get one more new guard, and your fullback, so get a new fullback. Go figure out how to run in the red zone, because the rest of the league, Detroit, Kansas City, Philadelphia, Baltimore, Buffalo, all the best teams in football, Get in the low red zone, and they can punch it in, and you cannot. And you will never win a Super Bowl, no matter how brilliant you are, no matter how good your defense is, if you can't score and run the ball inside the 5. So, Jake Brendel, love you, beat it. Kyle Juszczyk, love you, beat it. Seriously, take your wife and your stupid jackets and get the hell out.
Yep.
I'm looking for a new fullback. I'm looking for a new center. I'm looking for a bigger, better, harder running back on the goal line. The guy that everybody needs to go watch is Kyle Monangi from Rutgers. He's one of the greatest contact balance backs I think I've ever seen in my life. This guy could get hit by a car and he would still keep running. I've seen this guy get knocked 5-6 feet to the right or left, and he just keeps running. He's one of the most amazing contact balance running backs I've ever seen, and he's in this draft. Get him. Get that 5'10", 270-pound center from North Carolina and tell Juice to beat it. Put that guy at fullback. No more.
Why is Juice at the Pro Bowl, by the way? What does he do?
You have a Pro Bowl fullback, and you can't run in short yardage? No, unacceptable. You have a Pro Bowl fullback. You can't run on the goal line? No, unacceptable. Goodbye, Juice. Goodbye, Brendel.
Brendel's got to go.
Get yourself a better back. Get yourself a power back. Get yourself a better center. Get yourself a better fullback and start running the damn ball in the low red zone, or just quit, because you're never going to win the Super Bowl if you can't run the ball inside the 5. And we can talk about pass rush and D-line and linebackers and corners and all these other things. The kicker sucks and all this crap. But you know what? The Niners will never win if they can't punch it in. They have to be able to run it. And Kyle Shanahan late in the season had a 2nd and goal from the 4. He passed. On 3rd and goal from the 4, he passed. Now, Is that his philosophy? No. But
he had no confidence in the interior.
He knows his center can't do it. He knows his fullback can't do it. He knows his back can't do it. And he's trying to coach the best result. But he's now coaching around the personnel flaws on his roster, and you're going to get beat every time doing that. So no more coaching around personnel flaws. No more, improve your center, your fullback, your running back, and start running the ball in the red zone. And when you get to 3rd and 4 from the 4, run the ball to set up 4th and 1 from the 2. Something like that. That's the way you play modern football.
There's no doubt. Let me play one more. I keep saying this, but then I got another thing on my board here that I got to play for you. So he was, by the way, my son was stoked to be on your show. We got in a fight on Friday. I got to set this up for you. So, I'm paying the kid's rent. I'm paying for his college. I'm paying for everything. And it's Friday, right? And I'm getting done with the show. I go 8 to 10 a.m. Pacific time, by the way, for those jumping in from the Krueger show. And make sure that you are subscribing and all that kind of stuff. John Lund Unleashed on YouTube, etc. So it's Friday, and I'm texting with him, right? I'm like, what are you doing? Like, I got to have you. I'm jumping off the show here in like 10 minutes. What are you doing? And he goes, I'm on with Krueger and Damon, man. And it's like, I'm Krueger and Damon. Like, that's the show. I'm going on with Krueger and Damon, and I'm not going to cut it short. And so he was on with you a couple of times. And I actually popped your show on, and then I put my headphones and I put it against your microphone because Damon was just blah, 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 blah. And so he was talking, and George was on there with him and all that kind of stuff. So I kept checking in with you guys on Friday because I was like, well, is he going to come over to my show or not? My own kid. So anyway, he did have a pretty good moment, though. And again, people were saying, is this clown music? This is Zydeco music from New Orleans. If you're not aware, and the Super Bowl is in New Orleans after all. But I had him doing the walk and talk, and he actually did a pretty good job.
Tomorrow, after you go to Patty O'Brien's in Bourbon Street tonight, is done. Like, you don't have to do anything but that. It's just crazy. And take video and everything else. So you got to go to Patty O'Brien.
So we were getting on the elevator last night to go to the media party, and the most New Orleans dude you could ever imagine in your entire life stops us as we're going, and he goes, oh, are you guys going to Bourbon Street? And we're like, oh, we might hit there tomorrow. And he's like, oh, well, I'll tell you, if you want to find the real good girls, don't go to the side streets. That's where they don't have teeth. And I was like, oh, man, they don't have teeth over there? He's like, yeah, if you want the ones with teeth, go to Bourbon Street. That's where you'll find the good ones.
Give us one more twirl around, flip the phone, and give people this kind of sense of where you're at. You're at the Media Row Super Bowl. in New Orleans.
That's the only place that you really can't get anywhere close to. Versus I can just walk up to Debo Samuel if I want and cause issues. So, which I probably shouldn't do, but I can if I
Anyway, there he's talking about women
awesome.
with no teeth in the Bourbon Street. What a good time. You and I did that as well. And
Dude,
he talked to Debo, and Debo's asked for a trade today and everything like that. But yeah, he loved coming on your show. I mean, he couldn't. It's all you can talk about. I'm like, I'm your dad. And he's like, yeah, I was on Krug though. I was on Krug with Damon.
I mean, it was so cool. I mean, I wish we could have been there to share it with him, but man, it was, I mean, if you're going to go to your first Super Bowl, you want to go to New Orleans. And the only thing that I was disappointed in is that we had him on twice. We had him Wednesday and Friday.
Yeah.
And he's
the stash was a big
Wednesday.
No,
the stash is the
stash.
stash.
Oh God. So I tried to get him to shave.
The stash is crazy. But no, he was like, yeah, no. I think he said on Wednesday, he's like, we haven't been to Bourbon Street yet. I'm like, oh my God, you got. It's Wednesday. You haven't been to Bourbon Street yet. You have to get. I seriously, I don't know that I went anywhere besides Bourbon Street to be.
I mean, you hung out at Bourbon Street, Super Bowl 47. That's all we did, man. It's insane.
Amazing.
But all right, man. Look, I know you got
cool. Yeah. Very cool to have him, and
he was so excited. I just got to tell you, he was so excited. And I don't want to over talk about my kid because they're like, yeah, we get it. It's like Facebook, everybody's got 100 pictures of their kid. It's like, we've seen your kid. We get it. But it's really cool. It was really cool. And he was really stoked to be on your show. So thanks as always, brother. You're the best. Right after the show or right after the game, people are popping on the Krug show, right?
Wait a second here. HB at 136. Krug complains about Lacob's nepotism. Yeah, there's a big difference between.
Here, let me find that.
That's HB at 0136. Yeah, Krug complains about Lacob's nepotism. This is George Lund, who's covering a Super Bowl as a media person for the first time ever. And what advantage did he possibly have from he knows the biz a little bit because of John. Joe Lacob took and said, Jerry West, get lost. Bob Myers, I don't need you anymore because I've got two kids who went to Stanford, and I'm gonna put them next to Mike Dunleavy, and the four of us are gonna run the world, and Dunleavy's gonna be the one guy who can prop us up. But basically, we're doing it. There's a big difference between nepotism and making your kid who was never a scout, never a coach, never a GM, never a personnel guy, never did anything, and you just bought the team and cleared out your personnel guys and said, I'll do the decisions, and then pay Dunleavy as your human shield for your kids. I mean, come on. I mean, that's just
go, Kurt. Go.
That's embarrassing, man.
And plus, I can tell you that he earned through Arizona State. It's the Cronkite Broadcast School. If he stinks, he's not going. Like, if he doesn't get good grades, he's not going. They sent him there. I didn't have anything to do with it.
Dude, he actually goes got to the grades. Cronkite School of Broadcasting. Yeah. It's probably one of the 3 or 4 best programs in the country of its kind, and the kid's doing a great job.
No, in all honesty, we've helped our kids here and there, and I've gotten him certain places. I got him an internship with the Giants last summer, all that kind of stuff, but he got that on his own because they sent him there. Arizona State sent him there. In fact, next month he's going to the Big 12 tournament, and he's writing he did broadcast down there like we always do, but he's doing the beat writing for Arizona State. And I didn't have anything to do with it. You either suck or you don't. And if you suck, they're not sending you to the Super Bowl. I didn't call up a professor or somebody down there and went, hey, send my kid. I didn't do any of that.
It's not nepotism. It's not nepotism. Anyway, he earned it.
All right, brother. Enjoy
and know that name because he's going to be up there. He's going to be doing his thing
by the way, I want to make sure that we plug it, not that you need it because you're crushing it, but right after the game, right? Right after the game, you're popping on.
Post-game show on the Krug channel, on the Krug show, and it's going to be good. We'll give away the Ricky Pearsall jersey, the autographed Ricky Pearsall jersey. We'll talk about the game. We got a lot to talk about between Purdy's contract, Debo's trade demand, Aaron Rodgers. Is he leaving? The Jets. It sounds like the Raiders want Sam Darnold. I mean, there's a lot. The Super Bowl is going to be juicy, I bet. So yeah, we got a lot to talk about. The Krug show for the postgame.
Yeah, Krug show for the postgame. Please make sure that you're tuning into the Krug show. He is the best. And again, I always say this, and it's just 100%. We've known each other for a long, long time. Krug and I. My son's 21, who you just saw there on the clip. Krug coached my kid, even though you never would wear the hat, on the Dodgers
Yes.
When he was in not little league, but God, he was probably 10 or 9 or something like that. I mean, it was a long time ago. You coached my kid when he was like 9 on the Little League Dodgers, even though you were on the Little League Dodgers, and I always wanted to get a picture of you on that hat. With that hat, I'm like, I'm going to get Krueger with
it was
the
an
Dodgers
epic
hat
team
on.
too. It was an
And you
epic
never
squad.
would never put the Dodger hat on, but all your other coaches would, but you wouldn't. But they were assigned the Dodgers. But you coached my kid. I mean, that's like 13 years ago. We've known each other for a long time. But
Dude, it's been a
congrats
while.
on the success. Yeah, it's been fun. But congrats on the success. You deserve it. You've busted your ass to do what you've done.
Hey man, maybe Monday night we'll
send me a link
get you back on.
Maybe I'll pop in after the game too.
I will. I'll send you a link.
Monday night. Let's do Monday night. Yeah, if we can.
We'll do Monday night.
We'll
talk
review
about
everything.
The game.
Sounds great. Thanks, Krug. You're the best.
Later, brother.
Krug Show.
Always
Krug
good to
Show
see.
right after the game, and make sure that you're always watching the Krug Show. He is the best, man. And there is Larry Krueger. We're not done yet. We got tons of things. If you're tuning out, whoa. We said we would go noon to 2, and it's 1:42 Pacific time. And I know that you got probably a tailgate to go to or something. So if you got to go, I completely understand it. But we have a lot to do. And I wanted to just kind of throw this up one more time. Okay, that's enough Zydeco. I just wanted to play Krug out. So get out of here. All right, it is John Lund Unleashed. Thanks for joining us. Remember, please, if you came over from the Krug Show, make sure that you are giving us a like. You are subscribing. John Lund Unleashed. Please make sure you do that. We have a website, too. Everything in one place, johnlundunleashed.com. So not only on the YouTube channel, we would love it if you would subscribe, like, and get your alerts on so that we can make sure that you don't miss anything, because we do 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. Monday through Friday Pacific time. We do Saturdays mornings at 10 a.m. And then we do a show after. We do breaking news. We do things when they happen. We did a post game for the Warriors last night because it was Jimmy Butler's debut. So we have a ton of stuff that we're always doing. So keep those alerts on. John Lund Unleashed on YouTube. Much appreciated. Let me just go over this for a minute, just because we did this with Krug quickly. But this again was a year ago. Well, let me do this one more time, because that was the end of it. Here we go. Let's go. There it is. There was my vantage point a year ago. And I felt like they're winning this game. And there was no question in my mind they were winning this game. And then, of course, there's the radio booth. This is where we broadcast from a year ago. Oops.
What's up, brother?
Hold on.
How you doing?
There you go. That's where I broadcast from. That's where Papa and Ryan, where I broadcast from, where I'm sitting right there, right behind those guys. And I was so confident. The game started at like 3:30, obviously. I mean, at that point, I couldn't even sleep, and I'm not even playing. And I was just like, let's go, man. That was the fourth Super I had covered, 3 with the 49ers. I've been to about 17 radio rows, 15 of the last 16 radio rows. And especially New Orleans is the best place. But that was last year in Vegas. And at that particular point, I was like, they're better. They're going to win. They're better. And I keep, everybody, for everything that we discuss, and I know this is painful, but for everything that we discuss about Dre Grit and getting hurt and, the ball and the fumble and all the different things they could have done. And I think that Kyle could have done a better job setting up his 4th downs with better 3rd down calls, because that Mahomes is going to score. So all those kind of things. But if people remember, the McCaffrey fumble on the first drive was a killer, because they were just like, boom, 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 boom. I mean, they're shredding Kansas City. They score a touchdown on that first drive. It's like, let's go. And so that gets lost. I mean, I know there's a ton of that stuff, but man, I swear to you, a year ago, I was like, they're winning. Let's go. They're winning this game. Like, there was no doubt in my mind they were winning that Super Bowl, but it happens, and 15 happens. And I kind of feel the same way as we're doing the Tailgate Show. Thanks for joining us. It is your official 2024 Tailgate Show with John Lund Unleashed. And there we are with the beads and everything else. But it is your official Tailgate Show. But I felt so confident a year ago. And I look at this kind of the same way. I look at Philadelphia and I say to myself, I think they're more talented, and I think they should stop this 3-peat. But then I look at it and I say, man, Kansas City has 15. I mean, just Kansas City has 15. And how many times, like we just played Joe, a few minutes ago talking about Brock Purdy.
I mean, it was just.
I mean, if you had Joe,
right from the get-go.
If you had Joe, you were winning the Super Bowl. You could be more talented, but they had Joe, and that's what it came down to. The guy broadcasting the game. I mean, look, if that other team had Brady for the most part, he's going to be brought. Does that matter to you, by the way? Because I don't even, during the Super Bowl, that's a blurry picture of Brady. I don't even really think about, like, a lot of times during a game, I will worry about the broadcast. I will look at the broadcaster and I'll be like, that guy's going to, Really, I don't even have the sound up a whole lot. I don't need to hear Brady. Brady's going to be broadcasting his first Super Bowl. So that's kind of what's going on. But anyway, let me recap a bunch of stuff here, and then I'm going to play the video of, because it is a tailgate show, I did about a 5-minute video of the best Bloody Mary in the world, which I make pretty good ones. And so I'm going to do, it's a Bloody Mary Martini that I'm going to show you, and then it's just a regular Bloody Mary before we get out of here for the tailgate show. And we'll go probably past 2 o'clock today. We said 12 to 2, but I kept Krueger longer than I should have. So, and we got to go over props, and I'm going back and forth with my Vegas guy. He's trying to jump on and get on here too. So I'm waiting for my Vegas guy. So let's make sure that we can get him in here. So we only have 15 minutes, but we have longer than that. But I wanted to pop this up here and just get you caught into things, because if you're new to the show, what I do is I have a chalkboard on the right, and we try to do our best to stay at least close to it. So Super Bowl Tailgate Show, we did the intro last year in Vegas. Review the week, which is what we did with Krug. So we had Fred Warner talking about, Myles Garrett. We had George talking about his contract. We had Joe talking about Brock Purdy. So we reviewed the week. Krug came on the show. Proper Bloody Mary is where we're supposed to be in prop bets, but we'll get back to that. Rooting against, by the way, let me go back to the comments, and I'd love to get your thoughts on this. Who are you? Today's a hard Super Bowl. Let's be honest. I'm not a Chiefs guy. I'm sure as hell not an Eagles guy, and I really won't know. And maybe you already do know, or maybe you're like me. I sit on the couch, I grab a beverage, and I sit on the couch, and I think to myself, who am I in a game like this? I don't know. It just normally strikes me. And again, I'm not rooting for someone. That's not the proper term. But it's just, who would I rather have win? And God, when I think Eagles, I don't like their fans. I don't like anything about them. They're a direct rival. Even though the Chiefs, it's hard because obviously twice you should have beat them and you should have 2 Super Bowls. I really believe that. But it didn't happen. So that's kind of painful, the Chiefs. And like I said, I sat there from Miami in the booth with all the confetti coming down. And I sat there till 4 a.m. and had to run for the last media bus in Miami and took phone calls on KMBR until 1 o'clock in the morning Pacific, 4 o'clock in Miami, got the last media bus. I literally had to run after it. It was about 45 minutes. And it's like, this sucks. But I knew that they would be back. I mean, it was a young team and I thought, they're coming back. And then last year, as I sat, same thing, except for the seats in Miami were aqua and the seats were in Vegas were black. And same thing, the confetti's coming down. I'm like, oh my God, I've already seen this movie before. And I felt differently last year. They were older. And I thought to myself, are they going to really come back? And then they just had the season they had. And we're getting a bunch of people, on the chat line saying McCaffrey's not going to come back, this or that. And I don't agree with that. I think he is going to come back. And I think he's going to be very, very good. And I think they're still in a window, but to be in that window, and I think this is probably a lot of people are saying this, to be in that window, they probably got to go Sherwood, the linebacker for the Jets, who's 25, super fast on the upside, next to Warner instead of Greenlaw. Sorry. I mean, they've got to make some really tough decisions. Hufunga's not going to be back. He's going to be too expensive. They are going to get Brock done, but it matters when they get Brock done. It's not if, it's when they get Brock done, and it's got to be quicker. They have to get Kittle done. I played this for you a little bit earlier, but I'll play it just Krug left. And so if you haven't seen this is Kittle this week in New Orleans. If you didn't know, his cap number jumps from 12 to 22. So they didn't think they were ever going to see this year. They thought either they were going to release George by this point, or they were going to have redo George's deal. They're going to redo the deal. So in addition to Purdy in the offseason, in addition to either Greenlaw or Sherwood, the linebacker, I think they're going to get Drew Dahlman, the center from Stanford, and they bring over from Atlanta. I really think they're going to get him because they got to do something about the interior line. But add Kittle to the list.
Want to clip this off and send it directly to John Lynch?
John Lynch, Jed York, Kyle Shanahan, send it to all of them.
Bueller, when is this happening? You're entering the last year of your contract.
I am.
I know you want to retire as a Niner, yes?
I'd love to.
What's happening? Pizza.
Pizza's happening, Kay. Waiting on them.
There's no talking yet?
No, I think there's been talking. I think, we're mildly on the same page.
What are we waiting for?
I have no idea.
And that part I don't love. I have no idea, and it's on them and everything. But that's how the Niners work. If you remember, George's deal, and this is not going to be Brock, but for the majority of players, Fred Warner's deal got done in August when he got it done. So did Kittle's deal last time around, got done in August. Nick's got done in September. Obviously, Ayuk's got done late. That's just kind of their MO. That's not going to happen with Brock Purdy because he's got to be in camp and he's got to be working with these guys and he's got to throw in the offseason with these guys and all these kind of things. And his agent will not let him do that without a deal. Just will not do it. Now, I don't care if you're going down to San Diego to just throw or whatever the case. He's not going to do it. He will not. His agent will not allow it. And even though he works for his agent, when it comes to things like that, he's not going to get hurt. So he won't do it. Now, Kittle might take a little bit longer, but that's getting done. So can they get everything? The question is, can they get everything done? And here's the other thing. If you're just joining the show, thank you so much for making the time. We really appreciate it. But one of the things that was, pre-Super Bowl and early, and I've been saying this for months, this isn't new. Krueger and I have both been saying it for months. And all the people who cover the Niners, who I love deeply, like brothers and sisters, are like, oh, he's going to be back. He's going to be back. Do the math. Ayuk's coming back, got paid. Jennings coming back, got paid. They invested the first-round pick in Pearsall. He's going to be the slot. Plus, Kyle loves Jennings blocking, loves Pearsall and his toughness. And he wouldn't have gone through all the crap that he went through. And remember, he ran up the stairs to keep Ayuk from going to Pittsburgh, which in retrospect, I believe is a mistake, but he loves Brandon Ayuk. The 49ers have granted Debo and his agent, Tory Dandy, permission to seek a trade partner. We all knew that was happening. He's going to get traded, and they may have to eat a little bit, but you know what? He's just not the player he was. He's not the tone setter that he was. And I figured that he was going to get traded or released, and I've been saying it for months. I didn't think he would ever play another snap for the 49ers. And he's not going to. So there's that. So last year in Vegas, review the week, Larry Krueger, proper Bloody Mary, which we're going to do in a minute. Oh, prop bets we got to do. Kendrick, are you happy about Kendrick Lamar at the half? I'd be interested to know about that. And then who wins and why, and who are you rooting less against, rather than saying rooting for, because nobody's rooting around here, at least if you're in the Bay Area, if you're a Niners fan. You're not rooting for the Chiefs. You're not rooting for the Eagles. Now, this is going to be really, somebody just say Debo traded to the Dodgers. Yeah, that's very possible. Hi, Dan Mab. Debo traded to the Dodgers. Very, very possible. Very possible. But I don't think so. I can see Raiders. Somebody just popped Raiders. Oh, Dodgers. Where was the Raiders one? Tennessee or the Raiders? There you go. I just saw somebody, they're going furious and fast. So I'm going to make sure I'm catching up to all these. But yeah, I would not be surprised in the slightest if that was a Raiders, or I don't know about Tennessee, although they need some guys. But yeah, I could see him being a Raider. Why? Pete Carroll. And Pete Carroll's like, I watch that guy enough crush our team. And if you're looking at him and Bowers and Jacoby Myers, that's pretty good. They need to get a running back there, but they took the kid out of Boise State. Now they're cooking with gas. All right, I'll do some prop bets. People are asking about prop bets, but I do have to do the Bloody Mary thing at some point. Let me just play this real quick so people can yell and scream at me and get all pissed off. I'm not going to say I'm rooting for the Chiefs. I'm not rooting for the Chiefs, but I'm rooting less. I have less hate for the Chiefs today than I do the Eagles. I don't know what it is. I know they took 2 Super Bowls away, and nobody should hate, whatever the term you want to use, the Chiefs more than me. Nobody should, because I know you have a lot of pain with it, but I literally had to sit there and watch the confetti fall. I had to take all the phone calls. I had to sit in that stadium and talk about how Kansas City had beaten the Niners for, in both cases, over 3-4 hours, and go all the way there. And I'll cuss out. I'm not trying to compare our pain, but it sucked. And so I'm not a Chiefs fan, but this pisses me off, this whole narrative. Let me play this for you.
Travis, what do you love more, Taylor Swift or phantom 15-yard roughing the passer penalties in the playoffs?
That's a good question. Anybody?
I've said this a million times. If you're new, they wouldn't make Kansas City in the 34th largest market in the country and a tight end with Taylor Swift. They would just not make them the center, the mecca of the NFL universe. It doesn't make any sense. So all this ref talk, and if you want to localize it, we're sitting in the Bay Area. That's like disrespecting the Warriors, what they did. Remember when Charles Barkley and everybody, this pretty jump shooting team. You know what they're doing, Charles? They're playing defense. They're suffocating people. And I don't care. Could they beat the Bulls? Could they beat the old Celtics? I don't know. But the Warriors, when they were going through their run for a lot of it, were completely disrespected. And I'm sorry, but it's the same thing that's going on with the Chiefs. The referees, there is no reason why the NFL would not make, let's say the Jets. Wouldn't it make a lot more sense if we had a script that Aaron Rodgers, the surly a-hole of a quarterback of the Jets, in the number one media market in the country where there are the most eyes, would date Taylor Swift, this nice, pure as the driven snow, great big pop star that he absolutely loves. Remember, they had that video that Aaron Rodgers was at that concert. Like Rodgers and Taylor would be like the perfect two, and they'd be in the number one market in the country, and the Jets haven't won since 1969. Wouldn't that be a better script? Wouldn't that make a lot more money? Why is it that the Giants and the Jets in the number one media market in the country both stink, and nobody cares about LA, and the Bears stink, and the Niners are the 4th largest market, and they're 6-11, and the Cowboys and Jerry Jones are an absolute dumpster fire, and they're in the 5th largest market. That's the top 5 markets in our country. So you're telling me that like Taylor Swift wouldn't date America's team's quarterback or Aaron Rodgers or something like that, and all these eyeballs that are in those big markets? And I've said this on my show before, the average time since a team in the top 5 media markets in our country, New York, LA, Chicago, San Francisco, and Dallas, the average time for those teams to win a Super Bowl is 30 years. They haven't won a Super Bowl in average in those 5. Now, LA, the Rams have won it 3 years ago. But I'm saying if you combine those teams and how long ago they won a Super Bowl, like 1994 for the Niners, 1969 for the Jets, 2011 for the Giants. The Bears, what's that, 85 for the Bears? Love of God, man. 30 years is the average. Wouldn't the NFL come up with a better script? If I'm Roger Goodell, if I'm one of those owners, like, we can't have this. Could the Jets and Giants be decent? No, let's make Kansas City the 34th largest media market, which Kansas City is a third. No. Let me back up. Missouri is a third of the size of Manhattan. So what's the logic? Please tell me that. Why would Taylor Swift date a tight end? It makes no sense in the 34th largest market in the country. You would have her dating Aaron Rodgers in market 1, and the Jets would be great. That would be the script. That would be a conspiracy theory that you could buy. Look at this conspiracy theory. They're making the Jets the best team in football, and Aaron Rodgers is dating Taylor Swift. That's a movie, and that makes money. And eyeballs equal ratings. And you'd want New York, Chicago, LA, San Francisco, and Dallas to be really, really good. But it's Kansas City, and there's conspiracy theory. Okay, right. I always say this. I watch Dateline. Like, my wife and I on Friday night will watch Dateline. And you got to have a motive for the murder. What's the motive? What's the motive to make Kansas City the mecca of the NFL? Please enlighten me. That's all. So that's my roundabout way of saying that I'm probably going to I hate the Chiefs less. I know that you probably disagree with me, and I know the pain that they've caused the Niners because I've literally sat there and had to watch it. It was my job. Please talk about the Niners having their heart ripped out last year. Please talk about in Florida having their hearts ripped out. I sat right in this radio booth and did a post game last year from said radio booth after they lost, and there was confetti on that field, and it was painful, and I did not like it. That's where I sat, right there, while confetti fell on the field, and did a post game how they just had their heart ripped out. So I don't like Kansas City. That was not enjoyable. But Philly, Kansas City, and the media is making me do it. This whole thing about the referees and all that kind of stuff. I do not buy it. I don't buy it for a second. I think it's the dumbest thing. There is no motive whatsoever to make Kansas City great. There's just not. It makes me crazy. In fact, I just saw this right here. Yeah, Bill's 0-4, but here's the thing, and it's good to see you. It's a great avatar. The thing is Buffalo's good. Baltimore's good. These are smaller market teams in the NFL. Why would the script be, let's make Kansas City really good, and Buffalo really good, and Baltimore really good? Like, let's make the small market teams good and the big market teams bad. Great idea, Roger. Let's write that script. You would want the big market teams to be good and the small market teams to be bad, but that's not where we are. It's the other way around. So anyway, there you go. That's what I got. You might hate me because of it. I totally understand. Because it's painful, man. I don't want to sit here and watch Kansas City win. I don't dig it. I don't like it at all. So anyway, what have we not gone over today? Oh, I got to go. Oh, people are asking for props. Let me do this. I don't know why my guy hasn't hit me back. He said he was coming on today from Vegas, and then I don't know if he's gotten busy, but let me do a couple of these before we do the Bloody Mary, because you've got to have the Bloody Mary because it turned out amazing. So don't go anywhere because I'm going to play the Bloody Mary clip for you. It's about a 5-minute clip. 100% worth it. Let me share my screen with you, and let's look at some prop bets here today, because there are a few that I really like. Let's see. There's bets. Where are my prop bets? Is that the one? No. These are just regular bets, I think, but let's play with these. Let's see. These are some of the experts from Covers and what they like today, in case you are so inclined. Jalen Hurts, 275. I don't think Jalen Hurts is getting to 275. A.J. Brown, 100 receiving yards. I don't think A.J. Brown is getting there. I think this is going to be a much more of a defensive game than what people think. Now, Karlaftis to record a sack. I like that one. Kareem Hunt over 1.5 receptions. Andy Reid loves screen passes. I think that Kareem Hunt will do that. Noah Gray is an underrated player, as we well know. That's an interesting one. Saquon Barkley, 420. Thank you very much. Plus 420. That's a big number. Jalen Hurts, remember, if they get to the 1 yard line, they're going to do a tush push, which is why that's not great value at minus 115 there. What's another one that I liked on that one? Mahomes over 24.5 passing completions. That's only if they're down. I'm not sure that that's going to be one that I like. So those are some of them. Let me go because there's another one. There's another one that has the prop bets on it. So let me do this. I want to look at the props. To me, that's the better one. Let me do this one more time and see if I can find the prop bets on this whole thing, because that's the one I really like. And those were just regular old bets. Here we go. These are the props. These are the props. People love the props, right? So here's the props. Eagles versus Chiefs, 54% of the tickets, 53% of the money on the Chiefs at minus 1.5. So basically, you're looking at almost a toss-up game, and people think the Chiefs are going to win because they have 15. That makes a lot of sense. 59% and 51% of the Eagles right there. 80. Now, this is the one that I like, actually, and I would go under. But you know what? The public likes over because nobody likes to watch a game that is under the number. So 82% of the tickets, 85% of the money is on the over at 48.5. And then these are the popular player props, and I think these are really, really fun to do. Mahomes over 5.5 rushing attempts. That is a tough one, because you know he's going to run a few times. Remember, I don't want to bring this up to you, but he had that 4th and 1 last year against the Niners in the Super Bowl. They stop him there. They actually win the game, literally win the game. Goddard, that's an interesting one on Worthy. They are going to run a reverse. It's just a matter of, is he going to play out? I would take that. 5.5 rushing yards, 99%. See, that's the thing that scares you, though, because the public generally sucks at betting. I would go under Saquon at 109.5 rushing. You probably disagree with that. But again, really high numbers, 73%, 91% of the handle on the over. So again, by the way, 73% of the bets means the number of bets. Handle on it means the amount spent is that. So DeAndre Hopkins, 11.5 receiving yards. That one I might go with. Hopkins seems like, even though he hasn't been great, we didn't think he would be with the Chiefs, he's one of those guys that all of a sudden he steps up and Mahomes finds him in the Super Bowl. So I would go 11. I'd go over the 11.5 there because that's one reception basically. Let's see. There's Kelsey behind Jerry Rice. We don't want him to break that record. FanDuel Kick of Destiny. That's a big deal. Is that all of them? Kick of Destiny, blah, blah, blah. Sharp Money. See, the Sharps. Now, these are the guys who supposedly know what they're doing. So 60%. See, that's what's interesting. The public is way all over the Chiefs, and the Sharps are on the Eagles. That's pretty interesting on that. Top 5 most popular game props. A 2-point conversion, yes. I like that one. Both teams to score in quarter 1. See, I don't know that I love that one because you know this. What happens in that first quarter is you're kind of feeling each other out. Everybody's a little bit nervous, even though these two teams have played each other in the Super Bowl and both quarterbacks started in that Super Bowl a few years ago. It's still it takes a minute to get teams going, both teams going. So I don't know. Plus the kicker for the Eagles has been a little bit shaky. So if you're going for both teams to score, let's see, 2 tush pushes. That's an interesting one. No, probably 2 over, but it's the over 2. That's tough. Player props, top 5 most. Again, Hopkins over 2.5. I really like that. And the 11.5. Kelsey under 8.5 targets. I wouldn't say that. I think he's going to go over it just because that's what he does. And then they go some stuff outside of it. And there's the 3 most popular songs, Not Like Us, over 10.5 songs, and Kendrick Lamar to show nipple. That one's in there. Taylor Swift, you're probably sick of it. Blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to go over that. Last year, and see, here's what I did. I went into the sports book in Vegas right before the game, and I probably threw, 20 things up, but I had about 3 or 4 different MVPs, and I had Jawan Jennings at like 160 to 1. And it wasn't like I was going to break the bank, because I think I put up $20, but it would have been pretty good. And the whole time in that booth, because, you know, they don't want to be talking about betting in the NFL. But I was under my breath going, come on. Because if they win, maybe he gets that. But there you go. Barkley, Hurts, Mahomes, Kelsey, and then you go on down the line. Chris Jones could be an interesting one. I think I might have taken Chris Jones last year. I think I might have just thrown one up there. And then exotic props, color of the Gatorade, Kendrick Lamar, Brady to criticize refs for officiating. Remember, he's calling the game today on Fox. Over 1.5 birthdays, under on the national anthem. So those are the 5 exotics. Those are the MVPs. Those are the 5 most popular, Taylor Swift, whatever. Halftime, cross props, popular props. By the way, if you're doing props today, DeAndre Hopkins over the 2.5 and over the 11.5 yards, I really like. I like under on the game itself. And like I said, with all my betting, for those who are a regular participant in the show, if you bet against me, there you go. There's the 3, 2, 1. Take that off the board. If you bet against me, you can probably buy a new house. I mean, that's absolutely positively kind of how it goes. You can probably buy a new house if you bet against me in the bets. That's just kind of how it goes. All right. Anybody else on the board today? I've checked in with everybody. It's great to see everybody today. Again, John Lund Unleashed on YouTube. Make sure that you're subscribed. JohnLundUnleashed.com is where all the archives are, plus a blog that I write every single day on a lot of different topics. Make sure you check that out as well. And thanks to those who are watching on YouTube and Instagram as well. All right, let's get to this because it's a little bit after 2. And I've knocked down 2 Bloody Marys today, and I did it with the recipe I'm about ready to show you. This is only a few minutes. By the way, let me fish out this blue cheese olive just because it is so good. Can I get it out of there? Oh man, I'm gonna have to do it when I'm showing you the video of the Bloody Mary make. Because I'm not gonna sit there and bore you. Like, is Lund gonna ever get that olive out of his glass? And I have to watch this? Are you serious? All right. Good to see you, MC. Since Debo's as good as gone, does that mean the boombox thing is done? No, they'll keep doing that. Even without Trent, I think they'll keep doing that. Somebody will just probably take it over. Because I think that they're gonna continue to do that because Trent's got maybe 1 or 2 more years. And by the way, if you are just joining the program, this was one of the big topics we talked about with Larry Krueger, and you go back and watch it. This is the big story outside of the Super Bowl itself. The Niners have granted Debo Samuel his agent Tory Dandy, blah 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 blah. And again, like we said, this has been going on for a long time, and I don't know why the people that really know this team were saying that he was going to be back. I knew all year long he wasn't going to be, and I find it to be funny. So anyway, it is today's Super Bowl tailgate show. And with that in mind, and let me play a little more Zydeco music for you just because I like it. I hope you do too, and I hope you're not bored by it. But New Orleans is an amazing. So I made it really fancy, but here's what I'm going to do. This is only going to take 5 minutes. I encourage you to watch it. It will make you a better Bloody Mary maker, and love Bloody Marys on the Super Bowl to get things going. So what I did was I told you this on Friday on the show. If you missed it, John Lund Unleashed, but I did it Friday on the show. And what I did is I said, okay, I'll make a Bloody Mary. And like I said, I was going to make it here, but you can see that like I've got limited space. I could put my camera down and do all this thing, but what I did is I had my wife film me doing it this morning when I was making Bloody Mary. So I did a Bloody Mary Martini, which are outstanding if you're a Martini person. And I did it in these frozen glasses that we have. And I highly recommend you buy them rather than stemware for Martinis because they're just so much easier to make. So I'm going to do this for you. And then I got a regular Bloody Mary recipe. So let me play this video for you. This takes about 5 minutes. I think you're going to enjoy it. And this is, if you look at the chalkboard, so we're at Super Bowl tailgate show. Intro, this is the chalkboard to the right, which I do for every show. Last year in Vegas, we played a bunch of stuff from last year in Vegas. We did that. You know, you've seen this a million times, but there you go. There's me a year ago in Las Vegas. getting you ready for the Super Bowl. They should have won it, could have won it, Review the week, which we did. We played all sorts of stuff from all these different guys, from Joe Montana to Fred Warner to, there's Fred Warner saying,
A lot of talk about Myles Garrett.
Yeah, there's a lot of cases. A lot.
What does that mean?
Tons. Yeah. So anyway, we did a bunch of stuff from the stages. We did Fred Warner and all that stuff. So we did that. So we've accomplished that. The review of the week, Larry Krueger came on for a while. That was outstanding. He's going to do a post-game show on the Krug show, so make sure you're there. I skipped over proper Bloody Mary. We did prop bets. We talked about who we're rooting against because we're not rooting for. By the way, haven't gotten enough on what you're eating. Are you doing wings today, chips? We're actually just doing burgers and some fancy sausages. And then so I'd like to know more about who you're rooting against and who wins and why. That's kind of been a reoccurring theme throughout the entire show today. But I hadn't got to the Bloody Marys, and I have them right in the middle there. So let me play this for you. This is first a Bloody Mary Martini, not live, but from my kitchen a couple of hours ago. And then I do a very fancy Bloody Mary. They are both outstanding restaurant quality. Take a watch. We're in our kitchen, our kitchen, because lovely wife is doing the filming today. So if it's a little off, it's her fault. All right, let's do this for the tailgate party. Super Bowl 59, so we're going to make 2 drinks. We're going to do the Bloody Mary Martini. We're going to do the Bloody Mary itself. Any variation, you like it hotter, whatever, you can do it like that. All right, let's start with the Bloody Mary Martini. I have already, these glasses are awesome because you get the stemware and you're falling all over. So these, you just put them in the freezer. I've already put this down. That's celery salt on the rim, if you can see that. A little shaker glass. Now you can do different vodka, obviously, whatever you like. I just had some Tito's laying around. We have the habanero from Hanson's, which is really nice. But again, give yourself a generous pour, which is like what we like to do. I had these out, I guess I could, but I don't, whatever. I just like to pour it until I'm, I kind of feel like, okay, that's enough. Pretty generous. Now, when it comes to the martini, you're only going to splash some Bloody Mary mix in there. I've got the Q Awesome Bloody Mary mix. It's very nice. Just a little splash in there. And then just a touch, like I told you, don't over horseradish it, because if you do that, you're going to be like, whoa, it's going to blow your mind. A little bit of just a touch of this A1 in there, and that's the bold and spicy A1, a little Tabasco in there, and then you got to do fresh citrus. So I got lemon and lime, and I do big chunks of it here. So there's a big chunk of lemon, big chunk of lime. Love it. Very nice. In fact, I'm going to do one more lime because you got to have a lot of citrus in there. You want to get some citrus in there, make it real nice. All right, you got your frozen glass going, your A1, celery salt on the rim, horseradish, but don't overpower the horseradish, or it's going to be not good. Because you think just too much. You don't want that. Give it nice. You want that martini to be what they call bruised. You see how this thing's getting freezing? You want to bruise that martini so it's got ice crystals on it, all right? Ice crystals is what you want out of that martini. So give it a really good shake. Pop this sucker off. One last one. That is cold, going into that cold glass. And probably should do a better job of that part. So you can see that's a light color, but that's what you want. Nice, crispy. And then you're gonna put 3 blue cheese. Let's get close here. Blue cheese in there. Yep, tasty blue cheese.
Yum.
Put those suckers in, but kind of hit it on the rim, so it just fell in there. Then I don't care. We got the bacon that I showed you a little earlier. Put a little bacon in there, a little celery stalk in there. And I'm not gonna do celery stalk in the martini there, but that's something like that, and if you want to put a little more citrus in there, because, I just spilled it. Put a little more citrus in there. You never have enough citrus. Put it in there. You try it. Oh, that is perfect. I mean, seriously. So that's what you call your Bloody Mary Martini. So we just took care of the Bloody Mary Martini. We got that going. Let's just do a regular Bloody Mary, right? You don't want to slug down some drink, because with martinis, if you don't drink them cold, you're like, I gotta go, I gotta get this thing going. So we're gonna do a shaker cup, same thing, because we want to shake that thing up and then pour it over this ice. I did a nice cocktail glass, a little fancier, plus I like that. So again, if you want to, you could do, do these in there. Let me make sure I have my correct pour, or you can just, whatever, give it a good pour, whatever. And this is great. Some people like Worcestershire sauce. I like this A1 with the Tabasco in it. Gives a little bit of heat. Give it that. Like I said, horseradish is awesome. This is a prepared, like a creamed horseradish. Just only a little bit, because if you do a bunch, it's going to blow everybody's nostrils out. They're going to hate the Bloody Mary. But that's the way to give it some good heat. And then we did celery salt on the rim of the Martini there. We're just going to give it a little, actually a good shot of it. All right, do that. Citrus is key to a great Bloody Mary. So again, there's a lot of lemon, I do probably 2 each, plus I put one in there. So that was 2 lemons, 2 limes, good chunks of it. Squeeze them in there. And of course you got the Bloody Mary mix. You can use whatever you like. I got Q, I think I got Zing Zang in the fridge too. So whatever it is you like as far as that goes, that's probably gonna be enough, that'll be fine. Let's see, I do like a little bit of olive juice. We're just gonna do a touch of olive juice. Somebody said that pickle juice was good too. Whatever you like to add onto there. So again, we got the celery salt, we got the Bloody Mary mix, got a little horseradish, a little A1 in there. Already got a little bit in the mix too. And then we're gonna impress you with the garnish. So again, you wanna just, this you don't have to shake like the Martini. You're not trying to get it cold or anything. You're just trying to mix the ingredients there real nice. So you don't have, I mean, you can do it in the glass, but it's fancier to do it like this. Again, cocktail ice, I like a lot of ice in the drink. I love a lot of ice in the drink. And you can see there, leave a little room for the garnish. So you give it about right there. I don't want to rip you off though either. And then we have fancy New Orleans, that's for your tailgate. You gotta have that. You gotta have the colors of New Orleans with a purple straw, like that, just like so. Give it a little stir still. And then here's your garnish. So you gotta have room to get that bacon in there. Nice little bacon. Giant stock of celery. See, that's what I'm saying. You gotta save some room in there or else you're gonna overload it. You gotta get 3 blue cheese olives. 3, I tell you. So you gotta have room. Like I said, I kind of overdid this, overfilled that, but it's gonna work. And then I'm gonna figure out a way to get some more citrus in there. And again, I probably should have done a little less as far as the pour goes, but I don't want to rip you off on the pour. And it should look something like that. There are your Bloody Marys and your Bloody Mary Martini. Happy Super Bowl. All right, what do you think? What do you think? And while you were watching that, I made myself a new one. Absolutely outstanding. Blue cheese olive is key. I mean, the blue cheese olive is so good. And I'm going to eat that now, even though I would normally wait to the end to eat the blue cheese olive. But as you can see there, let me turn around there. There you go. The blue cheese olive is key. Oh, so good. So good. I didn't put a bacon in this one because I've only got like, I made 2, I did 2 pieces of, or I did 2 packs of bacon. Now we're doing like bacon cheeseburgers and, sausages and all sorts of stuff that I'm putting on the grill today. And, I only have so much bacon. And so I just was informed during when I was showing you the, John Holmes, great call on putting the olive juice in the Martini. Did I forget to do that? Man, what am I doing? Anyway, thank you very much. But like I said, I should have put some, there it is. Where's John Holmes at? I should have put some olive juice in the Martini. 100% right. But I will tell you that if you are a Bloody Mary person, that I'm a connoisseur, and it's not that I'm a connoisseur. I'm not trying to brag and be like, look at me. That's not me. And you know that. But what I do is I do those Bloody Marys like that, and did those for years. And so that horseradish gives it a kick, but it gives it good flavor. The A1 with the Tabasco in it I've used that in place of the Worcestershire. Blue cheese olives, as you just said, Bruce, right there. The blue cheese olive is absolutely the best thing ever. Absolutely the best thing ever. And like I said, if you got regular Spanish olives, that's fine. The giant ones. Some people like garlic in theirs. That's great. Some people like to put it like an olive, as you would do like in a Martini. That's called a Gibson. So, whatever it is that you want to do, but this is an outstanding one. And like I said in the piece, lots of fresh citrus. So like squeeze big chunks of lemon and lime in there. If you just have lime juice, lemon juice, that's fine. It's not quite as good, but again, still good. But it makes it really refreshing and key. It's not just like heat upon heat, and it's going to give you acid indigestion or something. If you put a little bit of of the citrus in there. Oh, you're right. I've heard that too, Todd. Why is it not popping? There you go. Splash of OJ works. Yeah, splash of OJ works as well. If you like to put that kind of a citrus in there, I know that sounds weird, but it is good. So anyway, those are good ones. That's a good bloody, I got to tell you. And, very tasty. I already put the olive in there. You can see that I got a little citrus in actually the drink. So not only do you squeeze it, you put a big chunk of lemon and lime in there too. And then you got to have the celery stalk in there too. And the celery stalk's great too, because, you mix it and you keep it moving. I also, on this one, if you can see that, I put the celery salt on the rim, which is pretty good too. So anyway, sorry, I'm trying to eat away from the microphone. Okay, there you go. I'm done with that. I probably shouldn't have eaten the big chunk of celery, and then I'm like, and people are getting grossed out. Anyway, there is your Bloody Mary 101. Bloody Mary 101. What did you think? Did you like the Bloody Mary 101?
The tailgate party.
There you go.
John Lund Unleashed
Straight from my
tailgate
kitchen.
party.
There you go. The A1. You can see there. I use the cocktail glass. You see how I got the celery too that's already packaged and cut? That makes it a lot easier. The Q Bloody Mary mix is really nice. And then if you can see on the right there, that cocktail glass, I cannot recommend that cocktail glass more. They're martini glasses that you put in the freezer, but they have a solid base. So you know how you're walking around with a martini and it's like a martini, all that kind of stuff. And you got to be careful with it. You don't want to drop it, break it, that kind of stuff. Those things, you rinse them out real quick and you put them in the freezer. And because of the way that they're designed, they freeze up again, like maybe, 2 or 3 minutes, and they're ice cold again. And then, so if let's say that, you suck down a martini and you suck them down fast because you want them to be cold, like the Bloody Mary Martini, all the Bloody Mary Martini is basically everything, but you just put a tiny, you do the tomato and all that, and you put it in a shaker, but you just do a little bit of everything. So it's incredible. Absolutely incredible. It's Bloody Mary 101. It's the tailgate show. It's the tailgate show. So that's what we're doing. We're doing Bloody Marys. Remember? Super Bowl. It's the tailgate show. So we're teaching you how to make Bloody Marys as well as talk football. It's all encompassing is what it is. So anyway, there you go. That is the Bloody Mary 101. What did you think of the Bloody Mary 101? And like I said, one of the things I'm going to do with the show, and if you like this kind of stuff, cool. If you don't like this kind of stuff, like I said, the show's a little bit of a democracy. I got a really good friend that's an amazing bartender, and what I want to do monthly is go down and talk to him and be like, okay, this month, what should we be making this month? Summer comes, or Valentine's Day, or how can I impress my significant other, or whatever. Really, 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 really cool segment that we're going to be doing. Yeah, the A1 is different, but I will say, Mike, that it's really cool in that, if you like Worcestershire, that's fine. And do it that way. Do it however you like. But the A1 with the kick of the Tabasco, I just think it has a really good flavor to it. So that's kind of why we do it. Totally understand. So anyway, there you go. That is the tailgate as far as that goes. Worcestershire sauce. You can absolutely do that. It is completely up to you. That's how I made it. I made it a little bit different, but again, that's just kind of how I make them. So anyway, there you go. That is very cool. Man, just hit me up. I'll go on anything. You know me, SGA Sports Channel. It's good to see you. Just hit me up. All you got to do, if you go to johnlundunleashed.com, I've got my website on there. If you hit me up there, I'll be more than happy to go on. No problem whatsoever. You should make the blue cheese olives by, Primo in Tracy, California. There you go. I'm well aware of them. I ran to the store today. If you didn't hear my story a little bit earlier when I was talking to Krueger, they're both really good. But what it depends on is, how if you drink 3, 4, 5 Bloody Marys, which you probably shouldn't, but like today, because I was sampling Bloody Marys, I probably have had 3, and I normally will have like 1. Like Bloody Marys normally for me are like kind of a recovery kind of a drink. And then you have one on a Saturday, Sunday, you start feeling better. And then maybe you go to lighter stuff because that's what I mean with the citrus in it with a lot of lemon and lime juice. It's not as heavy, which is kind of nice, which I like. So anyway, that's just kind of what I do. But yeah, the reason I made both of them is because if you like martinis, so all it is basically it's a martini, but it's got a little bit of, your Bloody Mary juice and all that kind of stuff. And you put all the stuff in that you would normally do. You just do a lot less. And then you shake that incredibly cold, and then you put it over, and then you put those olives in it. and you put olives in a martini anyway. So the Bloody Mary martini, like if you're having a party today, a Super Bowl party, it will crush. It will people will be like, damn, you kidding me? Let's see what else. John, I got the martini glass recorded. We'll share for educational purposes. I'm not going to pop up and we're not going to play it again. What I'm just saying is, you see on the right side that martini glass there, you can get those at Bevmo or anything like that, and they freeze up. So if you like martinis, like the one that I'm holding right there,
glasses are awesome because you get the stemware and you're falling all over. So these, you just put them in the freezer. I've already put this down. That's celery salt on the rim.
So I'm not going to go over that thing again. But what I'm saying is, if you like martinis, or if you like lemon drops, or anything that Cosmos, anything like that you put in a glass like that, rather than walk around your house at a party or something and you have friends over and it's stemware that's going to break every single time, or go into the dishwasher and break, those are really sturdy, and you put them in the freezer, and I'm not making any money off it, and you put it in the freezer and they freeze up, like you rinse it out. Let's say you have whatever drink, you rinse it out. Then you put it in there, and like, seriously, not like a martini glass will take, 10 minutes to freeze up a little bit. These will take like 2 minutes and they're already ready to go again. They're just really cool. They're really good. All right. What else? Bloody Marys are a great topic to talk about on the day. Anybody have any more questions, comments, thoughts on the game itself? We played you a ton of stuff from the week. I think we had a great day. We will tomorrow come back. I may even jump on with Krueger, but again, just to recap, there's last year. Oh, we should have had that one. Travis Kelce getting all that grief. Joe Montana, we played for you today. George Kittle, Fred Warner, played the Martini stuff. We talked a ton of stuff. Did somebody just say they're off to work? Oh, bro. Let's see. Oh, man. I know I don't have hot nuts again. I know you're going to kill me. Take a shot, boy. I'm off to work. Oh, I feel so bad. Yeah, 2 Bloody Marys, John, is about right. 2 Bloody Marys, and then you can move on to something else. You go to a beer, or you go to something lighter, vodka, soda, whatever it is that you're down with. Garlic, man, that's a good call. Lots of people like some garlic in there. A little garlic seasoning in the Bloody Marys, very nice. Oh, John Holmes is going with, that's a good call. Guacamole, chips, chili, you can't go wrong with that if that's what you're going with for the Super Bowl stuff that you're eating today. Is anybody going anything? Like, do you have because, for example, my wife, I woke up this morning and my wife said, because I do world famous wings, so when we get together, we got to do this, but I do these wings, and my wife said, "Were you doing wings today?" And the way that I do them is I slow cook them on a barbecue. I do the seasoning, and then I do them for probably 3 or 4 hours, smoke them on a barbecue for like 4 hours. And then I put them in an oven, and then I crisp them up in the oven. It takes a long time to do, and I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't do that today. No way. Oh, you are the man. Very nice. I don't want you to lose your job or anything like that. But God, hearing that you had to go to work today, I was like, oh, that's just un-American, man. This should be like Christmas. Everybody should be off, shouldn't they? I mean, it's just, come on. We don't want to do that. I promise you, okay? I know I said this to you. I might have said it to you last night, but certainly in the last 48 hours I have. I'll get that into the system today because, I'm playing the Zydeco music from New Orleans left and right today, and I'm sitting there and I'm not, and I haven't, and I didn't have the hot nuts, so I'm really pissed. Boy, we're going to a year ago. Yep, in a year, the 49er, the Levi Stadium will be the home of Super Bowl 60 like it was. Super Bowl 15 will be at Moscone Center. We'll have a great time. We'll be live on Radio Row. But, it's an interesting thing you say that, BC, because is Matthew Stafford coming back? We know that Cooper Kupp's not coming back. So we'll see on that. I'm a fan. Yeah, I'd like to bake the wings. I don't know. Some people don't want to deep fry them. I have an air fryer, by the way. Everybody's got an air fryer now, but man, you got to have an air fryer nowadays. But baked wings, really nice. Oh, this sounds so good, Joe. Buffalo Chicken Bites, homemade queso. Like if you're doing homemade queso for Super Bowl today, you win. Ding, 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 ding. Who doesn't like queso? I mean, queso is like crack. Like you start putting like some chips or whatever you like into queso, you'll eat that whole thing. I mean, you will eat that whole thing. Boy, that's a great question. The thing is, when it comes to betting, Mike, is that I don't want to bet Patrick Mahomes. But last year, like I said, I went into that. It was in MGM, and it was at Mandalay Bay, and so I literally have all my stuff in my backpack and everything. I'm getting ready to walk over to the stadium, which they have a little walkway in Vegas to Allegiant if you haven't been there, and I'm getting ready and everything, and then I gave myself like 30 minutes to kind of study some things and did all those prop bets, and I bet against Patrick Mahomes last year. I went all in on a bunch of Niners stuff, not only prop bets, but a lot of Niners stuff. And I thought, well, God, the Niners going to win, which I was confident of. And then I'm going to win all these bets too, and that's going to be everything. When I should have just went heavy betting Kansas City, and then I would have had it covered both ways, because then if Kansas City wins, I win all this money, even though I'm pissed. And if the Niners win, then I don't care that I lose the money, and I went all Niners last year. I can't bet against Patrick Mahomes, and quarterbacks usually win MVPs. So what you're basically asking me is who's going to win the Super Bowl, and if it's going to be the MVP. They always go quarterback like Jalen. But you're right. If Philadelphia wins, it's going to be through the run game. But I look at Kansas City and the way that they do that whole thing, and they just are. I don't know why they don't, why they're not looking more at the defensive coordinator of the Chiefs, who just absolutely crushes the 49ers. But Mahomes or Barkley, I can't bet against Mahomes. I can't bet against Mahomes. I did it last year in the Super Bowl. Spagnuolo, by the way, is the guy I was thinking of. I don't know why I was taking that for a second. It's funny that you would ask that, Anthony. He did. Hey, how can I be the man? You're the man. You're the man. You're the man. Who's the man? You're the man. Give that man. They do the pour and everything. But he hooked up with everybody. I mean, it's just great. Everybody's eating good today. Joy, what do you got? What do you got going, Joy? What's happening? What's going on in your house today? I'd love to know. That would be very cool. Look at John. 19. What year is that? Was that against Denver, where Harvey Martin and Randy White, the two defensive linemen, were the MVPs? Yeah, queso. I mean, if you're going queso today, you win. I lose, you win. I did not do queso. Anyway, what else do we have today? Wings we're talking about. Let's see, what else do we have? What else do we have? Mahomes or Barkley? Boy, that's a good question, man. All right. Man, I think we've done a lot of damage today. I think that we're about an hour away, 2:32. So we've got a 3:30 first kick. You got to get ready. You got to get everything going on. We got people. I just found out we have people coming over. So I got to clean up all that Bloody Mary mix or mess that I made in the kitchen, making that Bloody Mary. And then I got to start. And I think I have enough food. I might have to run to the store now. I'm going to have to walk. I live close enough. We have electric bikes too. Just zip over there. And we have electric scooters. I'm going to probably have to do that because I probably can't drive now. But we have more people coming over, so I probably got to get some more food. Yeesh. Oh, very nice, Mike. You were there last year? Yeah, there were that was the most, I got to say that it stunk that they lost, because in Super Bowl 47, it was probably 3-1, 4-1 Ravens fans over Niners fans. And it was like, God. And like I said, I didn't go out on that Saturday night because I just had it. Like, it's done. I've had it with that, right? Like, enough with the Ravens fans. So I didn't go out on the Saturday night in the Super Bowl, and then it was all Ravens fans. And then in Miami, Kansas City hadn't won the Super Bowl in forever, and it's obviously closer Kansas City than it is San Francisco to Miami. So the same thing was all Kansas City fans, and they're going bananas. But last year was probably like 3-1, 4-1 Niners fans. It was great, except for when I was walking back after doing a 4-hour post-game show, and everybody was complaining and upset. And I'm walking back, and there's hardly, as crazy as it was, Sunday night on the streets of Vegas, and it was maybe a 20-minute walk to my hotel. And once I got there, because you have to go through the hotel to your room and all that kind of stuff, no Niners fans, none. I didn't see any. Like, they were just like, you've got to be kidding me, we didn't win that game. And they were out in force all week last year. And I walked from the stadium, from Allegiant to Mandalay Bay, which, again, it's got a walkway to it, and I didn't see one. And I would look at red, and it was like, oh, that's Kansas City red. Look at another one, oh, that's Kansas City red. And it was, at that point, it's like 1:30 in the morning. So I'm just like, oh. But still, I didn't see any Niner fans. And all week long, it was just a Niner party. A party all week. Let's see. Who do you think is going to score the first touchdown in the Super Bowl? Let me go off kilter. I'm going to go Mahomes, because I know that's not a very fun one, but Mahomes like scrambling or something, or something close. And I know, I'm going to go Mahomes. And if I had to just go on a wild, weird one, I don't know, just because it popped in my head, Dallas Goedert. All right. Dallas Goedert for Philly and Mahomes for the Chiefs. And if I had to go something weird for the Chiefs, Noah Gray. How about Noah Gray for the Chiefs? If they're going to throw one, Noah Gray. So those will all be wrong. Who doesn't love margaritas? Yeah. I mean, like I said, I can do a margarita too. In fact, like I said, I'm going to do this thing with a bartender who's an actual professional friend of mine. His name is Chad. And I used to do, because I worked in a Mexican restaurant in Waikiki, of all places, right when I graduated college. And we would do this Hawaiian version that featured it was margarita. So your regular, your tequila, your sour, all that kind of stuff, but not much sour, just fresh lime juice. I'm squeezing my hand, fresh lime juice, and not a lot of sour, just a little sour, but mostly lime juice. But the key to the whole thing was splash of Grand Marnier, which is like a top shelf or a Cadillac margarita, but you put Grand Marnier in there into orange liqueur, which is outstanding. But the key was, and then a good splash of cranberry, which takes the sour of the margarita away. And we called it like a Hawaiian margarita or something. So you do a little bit of cranberry and a little splash of pineapple juice. And what that does is it offsets the sour of the margarita. So you got a little sour, a little sweet. And it is. And so at the end of our shift, this is crazy. In Waikiki, when I was working as a bartender there, at the end of our shift, they would give us 2 free drinks. And you could actually sit at the bar. Like, okay, you're done with your shift. You can have 2 free drinks. And I would have 2 of those Hawaiian margaritas. That'd get you on your way. My best friend in Waikiki, his name is Alfred. He would make the drink, and it had probably 4 shots of booze in it. And then I was on a bike. I'd be on my bike to ride back to my apartment in Waikiki, and it was like, I'm riding like this at like 3 in the afternoon. They're like, what in the hell is wrong with you? Yeah, I mean, it was more than a kick in the groin for me. I mean, I just was like, I sat there. I swear to God, like I said, I hate to keep doing this. I sat there. No. That's before the game. But I mean, I sat there just like afterwards in this place. I don't want to go back to that. Hell with it. I'm done with it. I've shown you a million times. Not going to do it. But yeah, it sucked. I mean, my God, just sucked. Nachos are great. You know what's funny that you would say that, Miguel? Like I was thinking nachos. Like I was at the store today and we love the Super Bowl more than anything. Cause you know how you go to the grocery store on certain days and you just know it's going to be a madhouse. So like, close to Thanksgiving, close to Christmas, all those kind of things at madhouse. I went to the store today on purpose. Cause we had the show today starting at noon and I wanted to be in here and I wanted to do a bunch of stuff. And I knew I was going to do the video with Bloody Marys. And I go to the grocery store today at 8 a.m. and when a store is busy, I was way, way, way at the back. And I'm like, oh my God, it's 8:30. I walk in there and it's just people getting chips and dips and chicken wings. And I mean, it's just like, man, I mean, you owe us that Monday off, don't you? I mean, you owe us that Monday off, NFL. Like, come on, man, get the 18th game going so we can coincide with President's Day and we get that Monday off. I mean, it's a holiday. We put so much money into the economy with this deal. I mean, my God, the Safeway by my house was absolutely a madhouse today. A madhouse. Anyway. Oh, let me get to some of these. John Holmes, Bloody Mary fund. Cowboys in the Superflex. Your book it, Daniel. Really? The Cowboys? Oh man, that would be the only worst one. If it was Chiefs Cowboys, it'd be worse. I mean, I'm rubbing my temples because I can't even, like, my body, my mind is not even computing Cowboys Chiefs. Can't be. John, I love you, man, but it can't be that. It can't be. It can't be. It can't be. It can't be. I'm talking to myself. Nah, I don't think it's gonna be. Anthony, good to see you, man. Enjoying your tailgate show. Robert Saleh equals the trophy, baby. I believe Robert has something to prove and will help Kyle finally push the damn door open. Anthony, I don't disagree with you for a second. I think that it's a huge, huge, huge get, and I've said that a lot on my show. I will say this to just kind of capitalize on what you just said there. Robert Saleh, and maybe they can't get Myles Garrett, but they're going to fix, I can tell you this because I've talked to enough people down there, they're going to fix the interior of that defensive line. And it's going to be interesting to see what goes on with Dre Greenlaw. If I was a betting man, I'd say it was Greenlaw. I love the kid on the Jets, and I think Saleh does too. But you get those guys back, and then the secondary becomes huge. But it's a lot like Vic Fangio comes in for the Eagles and just fixes a lot of problems. And the Gus Bradley thing is really interesting to me. Now, what they're doing, if you don't know about this story, Gus Bradley was a defensive coordinator for Pete Carroll. Really good defensive coordinator. Then he went to the Chargers head coach and he's bounced around the league, Jacksonville, etc. Maybe he's not head coaching material, but he's a tremendous defensive mind. And so Kyle now goes from a rookie defensive coordinator backed by a guy that we all hated who had one good season in LA with the Rams and made them the number one defense. So those two guys, and of course we're talking about Brandon Staley. So you got Staley and Sorensen. That's your defensive staff, the head of your defensive staff last year. And this year, the head of your defensive staff is Robert Saleh, who, despite the Jets and Rodgers and all that mess, was really good defensive team last year. And we know what he can do because he was here. And you throw Saleh and Gus Bradley together defensively, Kyle doesn't even have to look down that hallway. You know how important that is? That Kyle Shanahan doesn't even have to glance down the defensive side. Like, even if he turns and starts to walk towards the defensive side of the building, an alarm's going to go off. Whoa, what was that? What was that? Kyle, you're not supposed to go to the defensive side of the building. Like, they got two guys who have Super Bowl rings. Like, no. Because Saleh was with Seattle and everything else. These are Super Bowl caliber defensive coordinators who have been around forever. You don't need to go down there. Whereas last year, Kyle's looking in there. What's going on down there? Hey, what's going on with the defense? Can we trust you guys this week? Oh, yeah, we got this. Got a great game plan. Okay. So he was too worried about it, special teams-wise. Brian Schneider, I know you're a vet. Do we have to worry about it? Is there going to be a game-changing play that's going to screw us up this week? Nah, Kyle, we got this. You got a guy like Brant Boyer, who survived 3 different regimes. 3. I hold up my fingers. 3. 3 different regimes in New York with the Jets. Survives them. And now he's your special teams guy. Kyle, don't have to come in the special teams room. We're cool. Kyle, don't have to walk to the defensive side. We're cool. And now he gets to focus on offense, and he brings in Clay Kubiak to be a guy he can bounce things off of as the offensive coordinator, even though Kyle's going to call all the plays, and he should. That is going to be massive. And, oh, by the way, did I mention they have the last place schedule in the league next year? We're going to bounce back. What else do we have in the Daniel popped up today. Thank you very much. I always like to pop these back up. Thank you very much. You're right, Bill M. BA, that's going to be a problem. But again, they have enough. I don't want to hear it when BA doesn't play the first, handful of games, that they don't have enough offensive weapons. Please. They have plenty. This was a great call here. Yep. That's what's going to, very good. Vic Fangio has not beaten Mahomes. That's a big number. And at the beginning of the show, I was such a dumbass that somehow my mic got muted like this. And I was talking. And you couldn't even hear me, just like that. So, technical difficulties, or just an idiot. Probably both. A combination of both. All right. Anything else today? We kept you way too long. So I want you to get ready, make your queso dip. This is why we're going to do it from noon to 2. And then I get long-winded, and now all of a sudden it's 2:43. But I want you to, this is a good call right here. Steve Spagnuolo is going to load the box. Yep, that's what he's going to do. And Jalen Hurts, who, first year was like, this guy's going to be the next. And he's not bad. It's just he's not great throwing the football. He's good. He's just not great. Oh, there's somebody right after my heart right there. Bullet Bourbon. Bullet. Yeah, I'm a big Bullet guy. In fact, you know what? I've had my fill of Bloodies, and I played the Bloody Mary video, and I love Bloody Marys, and they're a great way to start your Sunday. But Bullet on the rocks, Bullet old fashioned, or Bullet, and I have some ginger beer, and put it in a ginger beer glass so it stays cold. I do like that deal. That's really good. But maybe just a shot of Bullet. Hell, why not? So, but anyway, I probably have kept you. Ooh, somebody is saying Purdy. Niners GOAT is going to Rodgers over Purdy. Ooh, can you imagine? Can you imagine the conversations that we would have if that was it? No, I'm not even just being overly optimistic. I mean, if you look at last place schedule, Saleh, Bradley, decent injury luck from the football gods, to be honest. I mean, seriously, they're not going to have a bad season like that again as far as injuries are concerned. In 2020, they had it. In 2021, they didn't have that kind of injury problem. They don't usually serve you that 2 years in a row. Brock is not going to force things as much. Hopefully Ayuk stays, and they're going to get a couple of free agents, not first day free agents, but they'll get a couple. But anyway, man, what a fun day today. I really enjoyed hanging out with everybody, man. And I don't want to keep you too long because we're about 45 minutes from kick. So I just wanted to make sure. Yeah, Khalil, I don't think you're wrong in that. I think he does get it. I think it's, what did he get? 250 or something like that. Yeah, probably in that range. I think Kurtz is at 51 or 52, something in that range for AAV. So yeah, I mean, that's, I've been known on occasion. Thank you for the question. There are no bad questions, by the way, in this place. Not at all. We love to get everybody. And like I said, saw a lot of new names in here and really, really appreciated it. And everybody was really cool, like they always are in our community. We like to just hang out and talk. And like I said, if you have differing opinions, we are all for differing opinions. The only thing we don't like is, people getting in fights, and that's what we won't tolerate. But everything else is cool, man. And unlike a lot of places in America, this is a safe zone. You can say whatever you want. If you disagree, believe me, I don't think I know everything or anything. So the more people that come in, the more we appreciate it. So anyway, all right. Wanted to make sure that we caught everything today. There's a little bit on Jimmy Butler. I did do a full post-game show. If you go to John Lund Unleashed right now and you still are like, well, we still got time before the Super Bowl. I did do a full post-game on Jimmy Butler's first night and a little breakdown of that whole thing. Scored 25 last night. Steph scored 24 in the third. So between Steph in the third and that run at the end of that, which I think was 34-11 off the top of my head to finish that third quarter, and then Jimmy Butler led a 9-zip run to start the fourth quarter. It was a total of a 56-15 run for the Warriors to put the Bulls. There you go. So there you go. Yeah, I'd take Brock over. Yeah. There's no doubt about it. All right. That was a good time, man. Good time had by all. Thank you so much for everybody for hanging out today. We will be back tomorrow. I might even go and, Joy, you're the best, man. Thank you so much. Miss you. Yeah. Thank you, man. We will do more with Pop. I will absolutely do more with Pop. Don't worry. We have major stuff coming up. And by the way, Tolbert put something up on social media again, if you want to go check that out, but it's going to be more soon. Thank you, Joy. And she's a big part of it too. Everybody in here is really cool, gets along. And even if you have differing opinions on sports, who cares, man? We're not, it's not life and death in here. We're just having a great time. So I'm really glad that you came in. And if you checked out the place for the first time, we hope you stay. We hope you will subscribe. We hope you will put on your alerts. If you're watching on X and Instagram, it's at John Lund Radio and everything together. And it's a really cool site. In fact, let me just pop this up before I go because I want everybody to see what this whole thing looks like. If you have not seen it before, let me see if I can find one up here because I have so much. I have so many screens open right now, and I probably should not do that. But here's what the website looks like, johnlundunleashed.com. Meet your host. So there's your YouTube shows, and if you click here, you can get more YouTube shows. There's the podcast. You click here, you get more podcasts. You click here, you get blogs. So there's blogs. There's all sorts of different things. And there's me at the top, and there's your home, your podcast, your YouTube, your blogs, your contact. You can hit me up anytime right there. And then all my social media places. So I'm constantly like, here's where you get me on social media, blah, blah, blah. There it is. One place, johnlundunleashed.com. And so you can just do that. And that makes things a lot easier than me having to blab where everything is. All right. Tomorrow at 8 a.m. at the very worst, I'll pop up and see Larry too. I think I owe him some time because he hung out with me today a little bit. If you missed anything on the show, just go back to YouTube, John Lund Unleashed, and you can check everything out. Everybody have a wonderful Super Bowl Sunday. Maybe I'll pop on with the Krueger Show. If not, then 8 a.m. tomorrow on a Monday. Had a tremendous time. Thank you for hanging out. Let me pop this up one more time. Thank you for hanging out today at the Super Bowl 59 Tailgate Show. I hope you have a tremendous party or whatever it is that you're doing today, and you have a tremendous time and wonderful time in terms of, just kicking it and having a good time for the Super Bowl. So thanks for hanging out. Super Bowl 59 Tailgate Show with John Lund Unleashed. Have a wonderful Super Bowl. May both teams lose, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks for hanging out with John Lund Unleashed. We'll try to be better next time, though I wouldn't hold my breath. Please like and subscribe on the John Lund Unleashed Pod YouTube channel. Watch live shows weekdays at 8 a.m. on YouTube, Instagram, and X. And make sure to have your alerts on for shows throughout the day or night. All things Lund can be found at johnlundunleashed.com. johnlundunleashed.com.
Goodbye!